Welcome to the Legend of Podcast Trails Through Trails, the podcast where we play through the long-running Trail series, chapter by chapter, game by game. I am your host, AJ, and my pronouns are they, them.
Yeah, I'm another host. Don't worry, we still have the real ones, but
oh yeah, there's the rest of them too. Yeah, sorry.
I'm Chase. I use he, him.
I'm Lex, and I use she, her pronouns.
I'm Matt, and I use he, him, and I'm so happy you guys could have us on the show today.
Yeah, welcome.
And this week we're blazing a trail through the chapter of game. I'm just reading the script. All right, somebody take these reins. That's all I got.
Yeah, welcome to our special season finale wrap-up episode for FC, first chapter. Thank you, AJ, for that delightful intro.
Just call me the professor.
As you may have guessed, dear listener, we have some special guests today.
Hello.
So
Lex and Matt, we're so happy.
Yeah.
we're so happy to be welcome on this podcast.
I think this is podcast stolen valor. I think us showing up and saying that we're the host now doesn't count. It feels bad.
Yeah, we're merely junior bracers in the parlance
Right.
of the game.
But yes, we thought it'd be fun to get some extra friends along to chat about the end of the game, the overall experience of Trails in the Sky first chapter, and how rabid we feel to start second chapter after finishing this story. So we've got a little bit of a different structure to the episode this week compared to usual, because we're not going to spend 2 hours talking about 3 hours of gameplay. Instead, we're going to go a bit more high level.
First off, we're just going to give some quick Trails news updates. Just some stuff in the community. There was a browser game called Akatsuki, I believe in Japanese, that it had end of service last year, but was running for a long time and was beloved. And a fan translation has now been made, and the prologue is up. So we just wanted to shout that out because that's really cool. It's called Trails at Sunrise, I believe. We'll have links to that in the show notes, but that's just really cool. We wanted to shout that out. We also have some more updates on the remake of the first chapter, the one chapter, I think. I don't know what to say differently when naming it. We have finally gotten some English language trailers, which is very exciting. It's coming out on the 25th of September. And their pre-orders went up and immediately had issues, I believe, for the steelbook and stuff. So that's not ideal. But other than that, we're very excited for that. And that's about all the news I think we have in this segment. We just wanted to shout those things out before getting into the meat of the episode, which is...
Yeah, it's exciting because this is the same way that we got Zero and Azure in official English translations. It was that there was a fan translation that was so good that they said, yeah, we'll do that. So who knows, maybe we'll get some version of this.
And those fan translators are still working on new translations, official localizations. Like, they were hired, which is really cool.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, that's awesome. That rocks.
It's very bizarre to hear the voices in the Trails remake because, like, they sure don't speak very much in this game. And, like, I feel like I'm filling it in with my own sort of, like, voices in my head.
Yeah.
And it's bizarre. It's very strange to hear them. Like, and again, I'm sure I'll mention this in a second, but this is the first time I played this, so it's not like I've had 10 years to really, like, ponder on, like, is that what Estelle sounds like or not? And even still, I'm like, whoa, that's bizarre to hear these humans.
Well, that's actually, it might put you at more of a disadvantage because later games have had English voice acting, and a number of these characters have shown up and had English voice acting fully in later games. So, like, I don't want to name everyone who shows up, but I think the most obvious is Olivier is from Erebonia. So when the game's set in Erebonia, obviously he shows up. So we've heard Matt Mercer's dulcet tones for many a game.
Oh, whoa.
So actually, I think if you've been playing for ages, it's not as jarring because you've heard these people, most of these people in those roles before. Yeah.
Although confusingly, some of the characters have been through multiple voice actors. I think Ren from the later games is one of the characters who had 3 voice actors at this point. Because she has aged up over the course of the games, but also there wasn't much of an age up between voice actor 2 and 3. It's just suddenly she sounds completely different.
Yeah.
This is the inverse experience I've had with the Yakuza series because I really started it with Infinite Wealth, and everybody was like, oh yeah, this dude voicing the English Kiryu is not Kiryu. And I'm like, I don't know, he sounds fine. And then, like, going back to the original cast and then just the Japanese Kiryu, I was like, I don't know, this one doesn't sound right at all. So I'm having exactly the opposite experience, I think, that most people do. So yeah, same deal here.
It was jarring to transition to English Kiryu from Japanese Kiryu, having sort of reviewed my way through the series for the last few years. But now I have Yakuza 0 on Switch 2, the director's cut, with full English voicing, and I'm honestly afraid to start it up because I don't know if I can re-experience Kiryu's like origin point with the English voice, because it sounds Kiryu-ish, but there's just something about that tone of his Japanese voice actor that's unmatched.
Yeah. I know the remake has been in the works for a minute, but I feel like this is a weird monkey's paw situation for myself in that I was like playing the beginning of this game. I'm like, man, there's so much dialogue here. I wish that there was voice acting so I could just like listen to it instead of having to like stare at my screen the entire time, or like really focus on the words. And then I watched the voice acting trailers and I was like, this isn't what Estelle sounds like, despite it being the same voice actor. I'm like, so I don't know. I'm excited for those games, but probably not gonna buy it. Sorry, we'll talk about it in a minute. But like, I don't really play like games like this, and if I do, I'm probably never gonna play it a second time. So
fair.
It is kind of the antithesis of your podcast, so that's fair enough.
Yes.
Yeah, the whole reason that dotzip exists.
Long games in long packages.
It really is. Yeah, we haven't actually mentioned that our guests are not just random people we picked up like on the side of the road.
Oh, I am. I don't know about AJ, but I was. They sort of flagged me down. Do you know how to host or like yap for a couple hours about a video game? And I said, kinda.
Has anyone ever called you talkative? Do you think you have a lot of things to say?
Yeah.
Then come on in.
No, oddly enough. So,
are you a verbal processor? Do you need to speak in order to come through a thought?
Our two guests are two of the co-hosts of dotzip, which is about big games and small packages. Mm-hmm. So all of the games that they talk about, it's a great show. You should check it out. We'll plug it more at the end. But all the games they talk about are pretty short and sweet, and pretty much the opposite of the Trails ethos.
Yeah, they take about as long as the entire martial arts competition takes per game.
Yeah, true.
I would say that's like our max. Our max window is just the martial arts competition.
Usually, the episode that we make is close to the length of the video game.
Yes. Yeah.
Looking at the raw audio for our show, same.
I was gonna say, yeah, you might be close. Honestly,
yeah.
Oh, we take a while. We talk a lot.
Yeah.
AJ hosted asynchronous, so I feel like they can.
I was gonna say, look, I get it.
With exactly that.
I also have Mass Effect trilogy runtime shows and Fire Emblem Three Houses runtime shows. We're good. Like stepping into an old pair of jeans.
Yeah, podcaster Matt has a great time recording this, and then editor Matt has to go, what's wrong with that guy?
Yeah, I totally empathize for real.
Look, I'm the one who has, I believe, so I've handwritten a lot of my notes for the games, and the last chapter was over 20 pages of handwritten notes.
Damn.
Sorry, episode 2
Wild.
of the three part, sorry, the three episode, part 2 was 16 pages. Yeah. Part 2 alone. I can't shut myself up even when I'm cramping my hands. It's a problem.
Yeah, it turns out when you reach novella length, that's time to change the end point of the podcast episode.
Yeah.
Maybe so. But before we get into talking about the game itself, wanted to ask you guys a bit about your history with Trails, which obviously this is the first Trails game you've played, but what had you heard about the series before? Had you ever thought about playing? Had you ever tried it and bounced off of it?
AJ, you want to take that first?
Yeah, sure. Mine will be a short one because generally I am not a JRPG turn-based RPG player. Those games take too long and are too slow. But something, and I'll talk about this more later maybe, but something that this game has made me realize, and emulating this game, which means I basically had the turbo button, which is in the Steam PC remake, but something that I realized that I really enjoy in turn-based RPGs is like when there is an active combat element, so whether that's ATB or whether that's like you can hit a button or like timed parries, stuff like that.
It's the Paper Mario thing.
Like that keeps me Paper Mario, exactly. Yeah, because Paper Mario was my introduction to JRPGs in general. Like that was the first one I ever played. And so now I'm kind of like chasing that high, I guess, forever. But in terms of Trails specifically, I'd only heard of it I'm now realizing a couple years ago when Stephen Hilger of Into the Aether brought it up on Into the Aether. I had never heard of the series. I had no idea what it was about. Whatever. And so when he brought it up, I was and pitched it, and brought up the airships and like how orbments work kind of generally and stuff. I was like, this sounds very cool. If I was going to play a JRPG, this might be the one that I would play. And then didn't for many years. And then, it was kind of around, and like I learned more about the various arcs and stuff and how many games are in this series and et cetera, et cetera. But really my interest was renewed when one of you, as a bit in the Discord, was like, wouldn't it be funny if we started a podcast? And then I was like, you should do that, maybe.
That's your Manchurian Candidate activation phrase, AJ, is wouldn't it be funny if we started a podcast about?
Yeah.
And it
at the very least, I will always chime in on conversations like those to say I've started podcasts for less. And what I mean by that is I have a podcast called Frog of the Week, which started because it was mid 2021. My friend, we were talking about how silly it was that podcasts exist, and it was like, oh, you could make a podcast about Frogs of the Week. That's crazy. And then my friend Kim went into a closet, third co-host of dotzip, went into a closet, recorded 3 minutes about, I think the African rain frog was the first one, I think. And then I had a lull in work, so I threw some music under it and went, oh no, actually this sounds pretty good. So anyway, sorry, I've now so far afield. Trails is a series that I did not know much about. I learned a little bit about, and then when you guys said you were going to make the podcast, I said, well, maybe now's the time. And my friend Brendan had recently given me a RG35XXSP,
Nice.
the Ambernick emulator, which looks like a Game Boy Advance SP. And it had Trails on it already, because he had preloaded it with a bunch of games, and Trails was on there. And I said, yeah, why not? And then once I got to a part of the game where you have a full party, the emulator said, no, please kill me. And I had to move the save over to my computer, and it worked like a dream there.
No.
Thank you. That's my history. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, AJ. I'm in sort of a similar spot. I do like JRPGs.
Yeah.
I played a few of them when I was younger. I was kind of a dipshit though, and didn't know how to play those video games.
Notorious cutscene skipper.
Yeah,
Chase.
real especially when I was younger, just flying through dialogue. Did not really care to learn what was going on. And so games like Final Fantasy X really worked for me because that game is half about vibe and just feeling emotion. And so I liked a lot of those games, and I don't think there was ever really a lull in playing very many of them. And so when I had heard about these games, I was like, oh, that sounds interesting. And I too, the first time I heard about it was, I'm pretty sure through Into the Aether. Because prior to that, I was like, I have no idea what these are.
I think that episode was called Don't Say Materia.
That's
so funny.
That sounds about right. Yeah.
I heard it in my head when I read that from, I don't know if any of you have watched Parks and Rec, but there's a bit in the final episode where they're like, don't be suspicious, don't be suspicious. So I always hear, don't say materia, don't say materia in my head.
It's really good. Right, yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah, so I had not heard of these games prior to that, but was interested. Every now and then you'll get hit with these just blind spots in series or games that you haven't played before, and that's always really thrilling for me because I've been playing games forever, and so there's not very many of those left. And Trails was one of them where I was like, I truly know nothing about this other than there's 100 video games in this series. And I was like, I really hope I like them because that's very fun for me. I'm going through a bit of a manga renaissance right now, and that I'm reading a lot of manga, and I had literally never done that until last November. And so it's very exciting in a similar way of I have never experienced any of this, and so it's walking into a room and being like, has anyone here seen a movie before? What's the best one that you've ever seen? And there's about 1,000 opinions. And so that's exciting. And this game to kind of a lesser extent because it's just a single game series, but it's exciting because I have no context. I have no idea. I at a certain point was like, I will completely stop Googling anything about this because I truly don't want to spoil myself on any of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, Google is dangerous for the series.
Yeah, I kind of got that sense too of it just takes one wayward Google, and I don't know why they every Wikipedia has at the very top status deceased. We got to put that at least below the fold so I don't blow it.
It's the way they start these articles, especially in the series specific wikis, where it's John Smith, who is a secret god and murdered Jane, main character in the third game. It's too much.
It's brutal, yeah. So I've just stopped Googling it, other than what are the games in this series?
Yeah.
But yeah, I was also similarly motivated when you two were like, we're starting a podcast. I'm like, that's perfect. That's enough motivation for me to play along, because it can be intimidating looking at the mountain of video games here to be like, I don't know if I'm quite ready to sign up for that. And I've also noticed that Steven, who's also a big fan of this series, like he jumps around a lot, and I think that would make me not play the video games at all. Like I'm very tempted to do that for real, like, because I'm like, oh, those other games got good graphics and like it's very different battle styles, and they got voice acting, but I know if I don't eat my vegetables, quote unquote, right now, I won't get to the end of it, which is not like this game is bad in any measure, but I was like, I must play the beginning so that I can like establish myself and play the rest of this series.
Yeah. I mean, we've sort of covered to an extent how we came into the series earlier in the podcast, but Cliff's Notes, I got a PSP Go loaded up with like homebrew stuff from a friend 10 years ago, and it was maybe around the time that Jason Schreier's article about the translation of this game came out. So I'd read...
I feel like we reference that article every other episode. It's
Pretty
really
much.
good, but every other episode it comes up.
But yeah, I loaded up with all these games, including Trails, and then was reading the article and was like, do I want to play the game that almost made someone unalive themselves from trying to translate it? And then I didn't even get through the first cutscene in the house in the prologue before I was like, nah, I'm going to play something else. And then I just wasn't in like a pixel RPG phase at that point.
Sure.
I think I was a graphics boy. Circled back in COVID when they put all of Cold Steel on sale on PSN. And I think it was 300 days in our houses, something like that.
Somewhere
collectively
around there.
in
Yeah.
lockdown. And so, I got through Cold Steel 1 to half of 3 before we were allowed to go outside because I just mainlined it. And I came at RPGs from the opposite direction, Chase. I was there for the story more than the mechanics. So combat was just a thing I had to get through till I could find out what happens next.
Yeah.
So I think the reason the Trail series appeals to me, kind of looking back at how many I've played now, is if you like RPGs, but you get sick of primarily Japanese RPG characters who are very one note, who don't change, evolve, they're just like, they are one gag or one reaction and that's it. Trails is the exact opposite of that because, yes, it's a commitment of hundreds and hundreds of hours, but you get to see major developments in characters, cities, technology, culture.
Yeah.
So there is a notable change. Yeah, there are characters who have been there from the age of 8 to 18. So you've got 10 years of backstory for them, and because it's spread across hundreds and hundreds of hours of gaming, it's been done justice alongside the other 632 characters that are in the main cast.
Yeah. I think you've actually clicked something for me. I hosted a podcast previously called 10 Very Big Books, where we read through the Malazan Book of the Fallen series. It's just this huge 3 million word fantasy series, whatever. It's fine. That's neither here nor there. But one of my favorite books is book 5, which jumps back like 100 years before the just 4 books you've just read. Whole new cast of characters, whole new continent, whole new magic system, everything. That's my favorite book. Because I love lore. I love to see the beginnings of a thing. And so I think that is like, I'm a huge lore head. And so I think you've now made me realize like why I'm so excited to keep playing these games, because I was just looking through the arcs and I saw when like the Crossbell duology, and it said like starts, X amount of time after the last Trails in the Sky game. I'm like, oh, this is fun. I'm like, this is still chronological, because a friend was asking me like, how chronological is this stuff? I'm like, I don't actually know. Pretty chronological actually. Yeah. Which is so cool.
Very. It's, I think 1202 in the first game. It is now 1212 is the calendar year in the latest game.
Wow.
Something like that. And every like arcs tend to take place within like immediately following each other, and then there's like a year and a half to 2 years between each arc, and then so it like bounces the so it's directly chronological, but it moves around the continent.
So good.
So we're now in the next game to come out, we're going to see the east, I think, of the continent for the first time, which we've been all the countries in the western half, but we haven't been to every single country, but we've seen most of the western half, all the biggest countries there, but we're going to see what's out east for the first time, which is very exciting because we've heard a lot about it, but we've never seen it.
Yeah. Wow.
Video games. That's great.
I just got so into my little lore hole for a second. I was like, hang on, what was I saying?
No, yeah.
Yeah, I love the way they kind of remap the world, because they've been talking about the East for a long time. There's like Eastern martial arts types and all this stuff. And so you assume like Eastern, Asian, and then we get to the Daybreak games and it's like, oh, East starts with France and then it becomes Asia. So don't worry about it. That's normal.
And they have the Middle East in there too. The Central East, they call it. There's like the Central East, the Far East. They've got all these different cultures. They have teased that there was like an empire that fell like 1,000 years ago there, and most of the East is like the city-states claiming to be the true descendant of these guys, and that's totally my shit. So I'm like,
Hell
yeah.
yeah.
There was
sounds like a Book 5 Malazan to me.
It's like there have been a lot of ecological disasters in the East. There's like an environmental crisis that has a lot of immigrants coming west, but no one really knows the cause of it. But you basically, like, even trying to get to the furthest reaches of the East is like a survival challenge because it's like so rough out there. And I'm like, I can't wait. I love that shit. That was our brief recap on everyone's experience and history with Trails.
Yeah.
Yeah, how did everyone play the game? Because AJ, obviously you switched methodologies halfway through, but
Yeah, I mean, it was still it was I guess technically RetroArch when I was playing on the SP, and then just on PPSSPP on my PC. But then also streaming PPSSPP to my Xbox Series X in my living room. So I was like layers upon layers.
Yep.
But honestly, that was my final setup, which was in my living room on my TV, streaming from my computer. Was my favorite setup. It worked great. The game is like so non-data intensive that it would stream basically perfectly until my partner like opened a web page on her phone, and then it would start to chug a little bit. But otherwise it was great.
Does that mean if you played the PSP version, did you have Zane in your party instead of Jin?
I had Zane, yes. I didn't realize he wasn't Zane until I was going through the, what's that website called? Crimson Tears? Yeah. And they had him as Zin? Is that what it is?
It's pronounced Jin, but it's spelled Z-I-N, yeah.
It's pronounced Jin. So then is he Jane on the... Sorry, I shouldn't talk about that. Anyway.
Billy Jane.
Yeah, so he was Zane. I didn't realize until today. I was looking through. I didn't want to miss anything in like the final areas. And it's a Jin. I was like, oh, who the hell is this guy?
Funny.
Did I miss a character?
It's really funny because part of the whole deal with him, right, is like they're like he comes from the East. I think they localized it at a point where Western localizations, they always wanted to like Americanize Japanese products at that time.
Sure.
So they gave him like an American sounding name, but I think it's very funny that like he's supposed to be a foreigner like in the canon, and people bring that up a lot, and they're like, but let's give him the most American sounding name of the whole cast.
Yes. This mystical Eastern martial artist, Brayden.
John, yeah.
What about you, Chase?
I played through it on Steam. I bought it there because I was lured in with the promise of a turbo button. Because like I really like some of these old RPGs, but like God, do I appreciate when they sand off the edge of like there's going to be random battles. You know, like I had played through Final Fantasy IX on the Switch, which I had never played before. That was like probably 5 years ago at this point, but they added the same thing of like here's a 3 times speed, and like if you want you can just have full health all the time.
Yeah, they did that with FF7 too.
Yeah, that really helps for me. Yeah, same deal. I played through FF7 the same way because it's like the time commitment that those games demanded earlier was like a form of like kind of getting your money's worth a little bit of like, ooh, this game is 100 hours long, but like 50 of that is grinding. There's so much time just spent kind of like wandering around and like, okay, where was the quest that I was supposed to go on? And like, I'm going to wander back to this other town, talk to everybody, come back here and then be like, well, that was nobody. So I guess I have to go back to another town or read the quest again. Like that kind of stuff just hurts a lot less when you've got a button that just like takes Estelle and throws her across the map. And so it's much easier to deal with the kind of speed of the game in that way. And like, again, not that I do actually like the battle system here. It is fun. And
yeah.
I think like kind of the positioning of it all does keep it interesting while you're doing it. But even still, there's, times where I was like, I'm not high enough level. I'm just going to go wander out and grind for a few minutes. And like, it just goes so much faster with the turbo button.
Yeah.
The combat's almost feels a little bit sluggish by today's standards if you're doing it unturboed.
Yeah.
The thing I really like about the Zero and Azure ports for Switch and everything that they did is they have turbo, but it's adjustable turbo. You can separately adjust the level of turbo for on the field and in battle. So if you know what you're doing in combat, you can just be like turbo to infinity and beyond and just like bang, 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 but not find yourself running into walls constantly out in the field. So turbo is a commitment they've made and stuck with. It's great.
The coolest thing with Daybreak and Daybreak 2 is the one where I noticed at least. So they've added some action combat elements in Daybreak 2, which is basically some like attacking on the field, dodging, perfect dodges type, like that kind of thing before you get into the turn-based combat. But they've made it obviously dodging if you're going turbo mode is like way harder than if you're like trying to get like perfect timing and dodge. But you can actually edit it so that as soon as you enter combat, overworld combat, it goes out of turbo so that without you having to click the button so that you can dodge perfectly. But then when you enter battle again, it goes back into turbo.
That's cool.
So and I'm like, this is like the coolest, like it's so seamless. They really committed to turbo and I was like, just having turbo is like good enough, but they've like committed to like getting better and better at turbo, which is really cool.
They haven't done the one thing I really want them to do, which is just to change the base speed of the game to 1.5 because I love these games, but they still run so slow. It's just
the characters,
do you want to pick up a cup of coffee? Do you have 20 minutes to watch the animation? It's just like, come on, guys.
They're treating the turbo like a mechanic, which is just so cool. Instead of like something that's just like appended on to, it's like you can go faster, but like they're making it a thing that is like this is part of the game. Like this can be part of your experience. Which is so cool.
It's really lovely.
The last bit of how I played this game was that I played a lot of it via Moonlight, which is like a game streaming thing where you just like use your PC as a way to stream whatever is on there to something else.
Yeah, that's how I was doing it.
Yeah, which is really nice because I was able to play it like while watching Survivor and shit, and like some of this game is very good for like, I'm just going to wrap up some side quests right now and like do some shit and wander around and like beat these monsters. But whenever there was like a major beat, I was like, I do need to pause for a second because like I'm just slamming through this dialogue and not even understanding what's happening. So like, I'm going to either like just pause for a second or, you know, ignore Jeff Probst for 10 minutes while I figure out what's going on with Estelle and Joshua.
Yes.
So there's always so much going on with Estelle and Joshua.
There really is. Yeah. I was, not to jump all the way ahead, but I was interested in the way that this game concludes with their relationship.
Yeah, that's something I have lots of thoughts about.
Yes.
It's wild.
AJ, who finished the game approximately 20 minutes ago.
Yeah.
5 minutes before we started recording was when. So AJ's
10
like,
minutes
hot
after
off the
our
presses.
scheduled start time.
I timed it perfectly. I was like, it is going to take you 10 minutes. Well, to be ready to record.
To have your shit rocked.
Yeah.
To have your shit rocked.
Yeah.
That's how long it takes.
Yeah.
I've had my shit rocked by this game enough times to know exactly how long it's going to take.
Yeah.
With that said, do we want to just jump into a little recap of the major plot points of the game, talk about our reactions and feelings over the course of things?
Yeah, let's do it.
Thought that might be more fun than just talking about the end, because like, since obviously you guys weren't here for the rest of it, you might have thoughts about different things that happened other than the last 5 minutes, even though it's hard to remember anything before the last 5 minutes when you hit that.
All right, I'll take it away, Lexipedia.
My love I give to thee.
All right, so we start in a prologue with the 5 years earlier scene where you've got 11-year-old Estelle and Joshua gets adopted. You immediately get like a really good sense of who these characters are. Estelle is a menace to society, but an extremely charming one. She will like bodily like jump on you until you stop shouting. If your name is Joshua, you won't stop shouting in her house. But then the real meat of the chapter is they become bracers. You meet Shara, you have Cassius get called away, and then you have to take over the work for him. So what were your first impressions of these characters? I actually really like to know.
Let me see. I think like for a moment I was worried that Estelle would fit the role of a very prototypical like cutesy anime girl.
Yeah.
And mercifully she doesn't, but that was my first fear, was like, oh man, I hope she doesn't tee-hee her way through this entire video game. I didn't feel that way really about Cassius. He immediately was like just kind of a different dude than I was used to. I was also like, with really no evidence, was worried that Joshua was going to be just kind of like brooding, edgy protagonist, and he's not that either.
Yeah.
But I think just on first blush, I was like, I wonder if that's what's going to be. The moment he starts playing harmonica, I'm like, nah, that's not him.
Yeah.
And Yeah, so I'd
Sick
like
harmonica beats.
Yeah, no, sick harmonica beats to lose your dad to is what the beginning of that game felt like. He doesn't die, he's not there.
You lose him. You actually
literally lose him.
You lose him. You have to go find him.
Fuck, where'd my dad go?
But yeah, it was cool because I think that they're advertising at least a little bit different of characters here. Like, obviously, I appreciate when a game pushes on character tropes and stuff like that. And it seems like they're doing it a little bit here. Again, the very ending of it, sort of in a different bucket of conversation. But like most of the rest of it, I was like, that's cool that Estelle is like sort of the Ryuji of this game, of just like brash and loud and doesn't like is not mean spirited, but is just sort of going to take directly what's ever happening in her brain, and that will come out of her mouth. And that's fun.
As Joshua tells her, she's the most violent person he knows.
Right. Yeah. Again, funny given the reveals at the end with Joshua's backstory as well.
Jesus.
A little too accurate. A little too accurate.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
But I had brought up Yakuza earlier because I think these two games are like very connected, at least like ideologically in a way, because I think both games put a real emphasis on place and people and community. And all of these, both those games do a really great job of it, because almost immediately the town is like, hey, you're going to be here for a while. So like hang out and get to know this place. And mercifully, they fill it with people who are like actual people. So that's like very thrilling to experience this town and be like, oh, okay, cool. Like this feels very real. Despite the fact, like, you know, there's maybe 20 people in here. I think it's supposed to be larger, but you know, you can really only interact with like 20 of them, but it feels like tangible.
There are also so like almost all, if not all, at least in Ruan, all of the NPCs have names. Like it's not just like boy or like newspaper person. Like they all have names, which was such a cool thing to see, because then I was like, okay, well, are these people going to become like main characters? Like, are these people going to get a spotlight? And most of the time, no. Yeah. Like but that happens maybe 1% of the time. Yeah. Which is fun. It kind of keeps you on your toes a little bit.
And they still have character development as well. It's like
they
might not have a major role in the plot, but what was the couple we met in the alleyway in the very
alleyway proposal? Yeah. Oh my god, what's her name? Like Ellie? Not Ellie, but something like that. Anyway, they
Anton and Ellie or something?
No, Anton's different. Armand.
But there's so many names. Like by the time you get down to this level, you are looking at the Johns and the Steves and the Kevins.
Yeah.
But also sometimes they're the main characters. But it's nice that like they have no impact on the plot and you can miss them entirely, but they go from like an awkward date me in an alleyway to like thinking about their future in front of the castle at the end of the game. And yeah, it's there for flavor if you want it, but it just means that the world is existing and moving around you.
Yeah, that is. So cool. I'll get to this when we get to the final chapter. Probably I'll jump on my soapbox again about the thesis of Trails, but I think that's ultimately it. The fact that every single person has their own storyline, has their own internal life, is just as like real as the main characters. And I think that's actually reflected in every villain throughout the series. Ultimately, is somebody who's okay with collateral damage. And that's like the one thing I think that all the villains have in common, because I think the thesis is that nobody is just collateral. Everyone has just as much of a life and a story as you. And the real villains are the people who think that some people matter less. That's always what leads you astray. But that's getting onto my little soapbox or my big takeaway, and we're not there yet. But we do continue through that first chapter, and a lot of shit happens. But the two big ones are that we meet a weird professor and some journalists, and we deal with some sky bandits. So we'll get to some later feelings about the professor. But right off the bat, he's the lore guy. He's where you get all the lore from.
Yeah, true.
Right at the top.
Yeah. You get all the lore. He's on top of this really old tower, and I'm immediately suspicious of this man, who is then like not suspicious the rest of the game. And I was like, well, I guess he's not suspicious. So we'll talk about that, I guess. But they really fucking got me, dude.
Yeah,
me too. Like I was suspicious from the start. Like nobody walks around with Brock from Pokemon Eyes without having something to hide. True. It's just I was like, I don't trust this man. He's too happy.
No.
And how does he keep getting all these places without dying when I'm like how did you get up that tower? I had to use a map, and you're like not even looking where you're going, literally.
Yeah.
Not a fan from the start.
No. We also got Dorothy, who's the greatest
Shout
with
out.
her fucking camera.
Yeah, she's great.
Love Dorothy.
An asset in battle,
Good
too.
lord.
Very helpful.
Yes, we love it. She's
Yeah.
telling the monsters to slay, and they're blinded by the lights.
Mm-hmm.
More useful in Nile, just running back and forth.
Yeah.
Trying to get murdered. He
Oh
kept
my
running
God.
into the combat areas. Like, he would start on the edge of the map, and then he'd run into the middle and be like, look at me, I'm important, now I'm dead. And you have to
It's like,
start
Niall,
over.
I know you want to get the story, Niall, but you can't report on it if you die. I don't have enough revives to waste on you. Like, sorry, dude.
Yeah, he's taking war reporter way too seriously. Like, the front line literally doesn't mean right here, dog. Like, you can just back up.
Yeah, it's peacetime, buddy. You're 10 years too late for the war reporting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have the Sky Bandits, we have the Capuas and Gisette. We meet Stella's homoerotic rival,
Yeah.
the most prestigious high schooler in the world.
Yeah.
And of course, right, Cassius goes missing. That's the big,
Right, yeah.
the big stinger at the very end that he's lost in the sauce. We don't know where he is. Did anyone have any other strong impressions of the beginning of the game?
I think the only other thing that stood out to me is, like, I really appreciate the use of technology in this game. Like, it's very cool
Yes.
to see
God,
the
yeah.
like blue collar high tech shit that they've got going on. Of like, yes, we have flying ships, but they are made out of wood, and like
Yeah.
most
Yeah.
people live in like a tiny house that is built out of like
Yeah.
logs and stuff.
Yeah.
Technologically, it's like very much the beginning of the Industrial Revolution,
Mhm.
Definitely.
which is such a cool spot to place a game like this and then be like, but actually combustion engines, well, do exist, I guess, but the combustion engine is actually this magic ball that everybody has
Right,
now.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's just like such a cool analog to like real world stuff.
And one of the things that feels so real about it is that weapons development is so far ahead of other technology.
Yeah, true.
Which is
Yeah,
like so
yeah.
true to how real world, like if you think of the Industrial Revolution, if you think of the beginning of the 20th century, all that stuff, like weapons are so far ahead of like quality of life related things.
Mhm.
So it does make perfect sense that like your house looks like is like your average like medieval fantasy JRPG house, but you've got technology that's on the battlefield that's like way more advanced, and there's a huge discrepancy because
Yeah.
Yeah.
that feels real.
Well, the first airships only showed up 10 years ago, which is like
Yeah.
it's so cool when
Mhm.
when they actually date it in the game. I'm like,
Yeah.
holy shit! Like this is like the beginning of the Industrial Revolution. It's
Right.
just so cool that the first thing they did was airships.
Yeah. It's great.
Honestly, I really enjoy the way you sort of look into this stuff. You have the library in Zeiss and that where you can learn a bit about the history. And they're literally still just like, I don't know how it works.
It just does.
I didn't expect to do this when I went into the game or any of these games, but I was drawing a parallel to the implementation of AI in modern real world.
Ooh.
It's like with Orbital technologies, like we don't really know how it works or why it works or how to do it, but we're just kind of putting it in everything. Do you want a toaster? We got those now.
Yeah, it's kind of an analog to like how Mass Effect technology
Yeah,
works.
true.
Like civilizations in Mass Effect get faster than light travel, but there is also technology that has just been there since before people discovered faster than
Yeah.
light travel,
Mhm.
and nobody's like, I wonder how this got here. It's just there and they're using it. It's just very funny to draw that like hyper sci-fi future analog to this like basically medieval fantasy, except there's
It's not that far off, actually, because there are technology developed really rapidly over the course of the series. Like they
Yeah.
do have
We've got internet and vapes now.
we've got the internet.
Yeah.
Yeah, they have vapes.
Sick as hell.
Well, Orbital
Great.
hookahs. I'm sorry, Orbital hookahs.
oh great.
Which is ideal. People have smartphones now. Like it goes super fast in this world, but it's also smartphones are first developed as a weapon technology, and now they are now figuring out
Obviously.
how to make. Like in the latest game, they're like, we're testing the beta version of the civilian phone,
Yeah.
but now you can shoot fireballs from your smartphone as opposed to from your pocket watch. So
Yeah. And you can play Tetris on it with your friends.
yes,
great.
you
That's
can.
huge.
Competitive Tetris on your smartphone.
Hell yeah.
But no, so it's not that far off because there is some advanced technology showing up. But
Yeah.
technology, I love the world building of these games.
It is fun.
Sorry, just while we're on technology and at the beginning of the game, when they introduced orbments and how slotting and quartz works,
Yeah.
none of that stuff clicked until like halfway through chapter 3 was when I
Tita
was like,
explains
okay, now I get it. Tita explains it, and then you like you have orbments that have multiple
like
lines.
paths. Yeah.
The crystals they have it's like red and yellow and white. I fucking what are the crystals?
Right, elements.
Yeah. They have multiple elements. Seraph, that's what I was thinking of.
Sepith. There we go.
Sepith, Jesus Christ. Sepith, yeah.
No, maybe in the PSP they called it Seraph. Like it's possible that it was even written.
It's Sepith, you're right.
You're thinking of the professor in Three Houses, AJ. It's Setith.
Setith. Yes.
He's green.
Yeah.
He's green. Yeah.
But anyway, so for so long, like a core mechanic of this game, I'm like, I have no fucking idea how this, like if I get more red, I get that I get bigger fire spells, I guess. But, and then I finally realized like, oh, there's multiple lines, and depending on where the lines are, and people have different lines on their pocket watches. That shit is just so obtuse. But now I feel like the smartest person in the world going into second chapter, where I'm sure it will definitely not change at all, and I won't have to learn a whole new system.
You won't have to learn a whole new system. I'll say it won't be all new. There will be
okay, that's good.
Familiar. The concepts are familiar, but you will get the newest version of iPhone.
Great.
So there will get an update where you can have now seven quartz instead of 6, I think.
Oh, hell yeah.
Ah,
wow.
Nice.
Yeah, I didn't get the mechanics of the quartz stuff for ages. Honestly, I was just kind of throwing stuff in there to fill the slots, and then I started using the quartz guide that we've linked a few times in the show, and it was only through like implementing what they told me to do and seeing what happened as a result. I was like, oh, okay, now I kind of get it.
Yeah, that's what happened. I spent like 10, 15 minutes being like, what if I put this one here and this one here and this one here? Oh, now I see.
A godsend that they let you see what's going to change on your spell list as you're sort of hovering, because if they didn't have that, I'd be like, I'm just going to put things in there and then never look at it again.
That was pretty much my tactic. I just equipped whatever seemed coolest and strongest at any given moment. AJ, the line thing you're talking about, no fucking clue what's going on there. So, I was just equipping whatever I had, which seemed to work fine. I don't know if I was just overusing turbo and like was higher level than I needed to be and didn't really understand what was going on.
No, I think the farther you get into the game, like the quartz have multiple functions, and so as long as you're equipping the highest level quartz, you're still gonna get new spells that are like good.
Yeah.
It's just a matter of like, oh, do you want the ones that apply to an area now? Then you're gonna have to kind of think about how you place your you place your quartz within your stuff. But
so that's chapter 1, nice and brief.
That's chapter 1.
Prologue. That's the prologue, not chapter 1.
Oh no!
Kapow! In chapter 1, all sorts of other shit happens. We go to the market city of Bose. Quick rundown: we meet Olivier, my beloved bard.
Shout out.
We learn that we have drama with the military. We meet Mayor Mabel and her girlfriend / maid Lila.
Yeah, they were roommates for sure.
They were roommates. Well, we go try to deal with the Sky Bandits, and we go off to a lake. But first, before we do any of that, I can't believe I forgot to mention this. We get one of my favorite scenes in the game when you go up the clock tower and Estelle tells Joshua about what happened to her mother. Which it's very interesting. It's weird that Joshua has lived with them for 5 years and doesn't know that story. But, I mean, he knows her name and that she's dead. It's not like he doesn't know this mother ever existed. But I love that scene. I thought that was... I talked about this in the pod before, but such an effective way of introducing this war, not by saying, and this many civilians died in the war, but just telling you about one who died, and like really giving you the scope of the tragedy for one person, because then every time you hear that anyone else died in this war, it's as big of every single individual person that died was like a whole world and a whole tragedy unto themselves. And I think that's a really effective way of introducing a tragedy rather than just being like, wow, and like thousands of people died or something.
Right. Yeah. It's an extremely grounded game. Just the writing throughout the whole game is like very real, like very despite the stuff being kind of over the top sometimes with like how Estelle and Joshua are like yelling and fighting with each other or whatever. It's just like everything happening in the world is like, I could see this. Like this makes sense.
Yeah, it feels really grounded, and it's also, having watched that scene, it was interesting to think that if this isn't something that she's shared with Joshua, the clock tower is in the exact center of town. It has a huge plaque on it that says, this was built, this was destroyed, this was rebuilt. So every day of her life, Estelle is walking past a plaque that says, this is where your mum died. And she's still so happy-go-lucky, and it's kind of surprising that it's never come up before that. It must be a real tough memory to share, like if she's getting that constant reminder and still not willing to share it until 5 years in.
It is helpful to see that like the chipperness of her personality it feels like a reaction in that circumstance of like, I am this way because like I can't get bogged down in feeling this all the time, because if that was the case, I wouldn't be able to do anything, you know. I mean, I think she specifically says like, I became a bracer so that I could kind of carry on her strength in a way.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want to protect people like how she protected me.
Exactly. Yeah. And so it's good. Like it does feel like there's a reason for the way that she is.
Yeah. And I think you really get the impression that she's not happy and cheerful and silly because nothing bad's ever happened, but because she chooses to be in spite of the fact that she's been through something. Like, it's a sign of strength, not like a sign of having never gone through anything.
Yeah,
it's
she's not
like
naive.
Her. Yeah. I really love that about her. But yeah, we and Shara go off to Bose, and Olivier. Matt and I have talked a lot about loving Olivier, but he does a bit of a rough introduction. Definitely some homophobic stereotypes there, but he's also, I think he's a joy. What do you guys think of Olivier?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's definitely that it characterizes him in that way that I feel like a lot of media at the time did, where like the game absolutely loves him, and like every scene he's in is like he's the center of the scene. Like the moment I didn't know he was going to be a playable character, and then the moment he's on screen, I'm like, that guy's coming in my party in like 2 seconds here. Just because of like the kind of snarky jokishness that he brings, and like just the over the top dialogue that he's always having. And also it does the bizarre, like kind of relying on homophobic tropes and shit like that.
Yeah.
Where it's like, it tries to have it both ways of like, you do love this character, clearly. Like the game is like obsessed with him, and also they're cruel to him. And I'm like, it's hard for me to square those two things. And like a lot of stuff from this kind of like, I guess late 2000s, early 2010s era does.
2004.
Yeah. Like it does that stuff, you know?
You can have the queer-coded character, but you still have to have someone point at him and say, gay.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, that's one of those things I really hope the remake will. It'll feel a lot worse if the remake plays it the same way.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Because you can look at it and be like, this is from 2004, and I can like, you know, kind of write it off like that. But it's gonna feel a lot different if they treat it the same way in 2025.
Like you can just have him be fun. Like that's totally fun. Yeah. It's totally cool.
Yeah.
And people can get annoyed at him or weirded out by him because he's like kind of obnoxious and ridiculous and keeps butting into their business and is drunk. Like there's lots of reasons the characters could be frustrated with him without being like, are you one of those boys who likes other boys?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let Mercer off the hook and like just go crazy. Like go your hardest.
Because he is like to the party annoying, right? Like he constantly is just like, I'm gonna come with you guys, and they're like, I don't think we really want that. You're not a bracer. And he's like, I don't really give a shit. Like I'm gonna come with you. Or then when like
I'm chilling.
Yeah. Or when Shara later is like, I'm gonna drink him under the table, and then 20 minutes later he's like, I'm fine, I'm back. And she's like, God damn it, dude. Like I tried to get rid of you.
Vom and came back. We're good.
Right. Yeah.
Bracers hate this foppish dandy.
I think the one moment that I feel like the game, like there's one scene where it's doesn't totally treat him like shit is after the martial arts tournament, when Mueller is like, you're not going with them because if you go and you're representing Arabonia and you're acting like this, like just like a total idiot, like we don't want that, and everybody's like, man, that sucks, but he's totally right. And like this feels like this is how the whole game should treat him. Like he's a bit annoying, and like, you know, there can be some racism stuff projected onto him that also sucks, and we can all acknowledge that sucks, but it doesn't have to be like, you're a boy that likes boys. That's crazy. I think the game should also do more chastising of adults trying to sexualize 16-year-olds.
Why are we doing this? Just the whole game. Everybody's doing this all the time.
Everyone is doing it.
And then you get to the one time the game is cool about it is like when everyone's like, whoa, trying to marry off the 16-year-old princess is crazy. And it's like, I agree, but where was this energy the rest of the game? Like, why was it okay to like hit on the 16-year-olds before?
My God.
It's like, finally, we're on the same page, but where was this energy?
Yeah.
We need an age of consent subplot in the remake, I think.
Seriously.
Absolutely.
Or at least give us like a moment where like well, like, you know, if Olivier has to flirt with Joshua, have him be like, oh, I didn't realize you were a kid. I'm sorry. Like, don't do it again. Like,
Right. Yeah. Oh, you're a child. Oops. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm an airhead. That's like part of my personality.
Yeah, yeah.
It's like I don't
Yeah.
think before I speak. Kind of in a similar way to Estelle, but in a different way. You know.
I would love a redo of that introduction of Olivier, because he kind of hits on, is it just Joshua or is it Joshua and Estelle in the moment?
Yeah, I think it was both. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Estelle's like, "Are you a boy that likes boys?" And he's like, "I like whoever is the prettiest,"
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever, something like
You
that.
know, just an alternate version of that scene where he starts hitting on one or both of them, and they say, "I'm 16," and he just goes, "Well," and pivots to Shira.
Hey.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
who flirts back with him? Is the only one in the game who, like,
Yeah.
continuously
Yeah.
flirts back with him.
But she's also flirting with Joshua. I'm like, girl, what are we doing? What's happening?
Yeah.
And she's like, I'm just messing with Estelle. And I'm like, yeah, but that's not cool. Like, it doesn't matter.
God.
Stop harassing the children.
It's very
Her
bizarre.
whole vibe is kind of wild, Shira. She's just like, "I'm going to whip you, brackets affectionate, or I'm going to whip you, brackets pain."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah.
She contains multitudes.
Yeah, there's
Yeah,
definitely
yeah.
some weird coding with some weird, like, racialized ideas
Yes,
going on with
100%.
Shara that's definitely uncomfortable.
Yes.
It's not every scene she's in, but it's enough of the time to make you like,
Yeah, everything where
Yeah.
they're
Definitely been treated a lot better in later games, so I think they can
Yeah.
retroactively kind of feed that back.
anytime they start calling her like exotic, I'm like, ay, what are we doing here?
Oh my god, there
So
was a guy in the prologue working at like the airship that said she's an exotic chocolate skinned beauty, and I gagged audibly. I was like,
Whoa.
no. It was like 2004.
Yeah, it's
2004.
you feel it every now and then, and it is bizarre because a lot of the storytelling is even subversive for the time that it was in.
Yeah.
As far as like giving
Yeah.
a lot of these characters the time of day. But yeah, some things just right down the middle. Like, yeah, we're just doing this exactly how it is done.
Yeah.
And they were doing so great. They kicked off with a female protagonist who's not a tee-hee-hee girl. She's
Yeah.
a sneaker airhead. And then they're just like, but we've got to keep some of the tropes to keep everyone happy, I guess.
Yeah.
In 2004.
Yeah.
It's so weird. So weird.
But the game moves along, and we shall too, because we have to. Because we don't want the episode to be quite as long as the game. But we move into, was there anything else about Chapter 1 we wanted to say? We do the Sky Bandits operation. We go to the lake shore. We get that dramatic talk with Joshua and Estelle, where Josh was like, I have secrets and I'm a bad person for not telling you. And Estelle's like, no, it's okay for you to wait until you're ready to talk about it. We get more sick harmonica beats.
Mm-hmm.
We,
Yeah. Loud enough to
Yeah.
carry across the countryside.
yeah. We get a lot of drinking from Sharon and Olivier.
Mm-hmm.
We get Nebel Valley and try to navigate that weird place.
Yeah, that was tough. I spent a lot of time in Nebel Valley.
Yeah. No maps for dungeons is a choice, and I'm not in favor
Oh
of it.
god.
Yeah, I this might be an opportune time to talk about this, but like I can see the argument for why there's not like objective markers in this game.
Yeah.
Because like I think that's part of it is looking through your quest log and being like, okay, where is the lighthouse? Where, like, I have to run back there, and then like there's a guy that I need to talk to. Like it's the Morrowind versus like Oblivion or Skyrim argument of like just giving you the waypoint sometimes kind of defeats the purpose of reading everything. And like I think it is more tangibly interesting to have to read something and understand the world a little bit of like, oh, I know that place, it's north of this town, so I'm going to go over there and like talk to this person. Like that's cool and gets you more endeared to the space. But there's some times where I'm like, man, I don't remember where the fuck that is. And like no maps and dungeons are kind of a similar ethos of like, it would be very cool to sand off some of these edges. And I'm curious if they will in the remake.
Yeah,
I'm sure they will because later games all have dungeon maps.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
After Sky, I mean. So I expect they'll have them, but I'm really curious if they implement any kind of fast travel.
True.
Because later games do have that, but also later games tend to, like, you aren't traveling throughout the whole game in the same way. Like, they tend to have cities that, like, the whole game, most of the game is set in one city.
just for the dungeons, I feel that no maps for dungeons and no escape item or spell is a bad choice. You can have one or the other, because I had a great time, but the number of dungeons where I finally puzzled my way to the end, I was like, yes, finally, I found the mossy rock that I needed to find. And then I do that and then just turn around and go,
And now I have to get out of here.
shit, I've got to find my way out again.
Yeah.
But moving on to chapter 2. Sorry, Chapter 2, which is my favorite chapter in the game, other than the final chapter, but that's like 3 chapters in one. But chapter 2, we go to Rouen. We meet a bunch of characters. We meet Chloe for the first time. We've met Agate before briefly, but now we actually get to spend some time with Agate.
Mm-hmm.
We get the school festival, that extravaganza.
Mm-hmm. That was the part of the game where I had messaged in the DM for this episode that I said this game wants to be a book so bad, because that entire bit, all of the school stuff is just all dialogue, and then like go to this place and then read more dialogue, and then go to another spot and then read more dialogue, and it's good dialogue.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, the dialogue's good, but there's so much of it, and for a video game, I feel like maybe we could have done one more edit pass and maybe taken a little bit of the extraneous character. But that's the thing, is like after the fact, looking back on it, I'm like, yeah, it gives you such a great idea of the depths of these characters and the things they're thinking and going through and whatever, and the way that they grow and the way they change, the way they speak. And it's great. But in the moment, I'm like, please let me, I just want to eat lunch. I said I would watch one cutscene before lunch, and it's just, I'm still reading. It's been 10 minutes, I'm still reading.
The school festival had some of the highest highs and some of the lowest lows in this game for me.
For sure.
Which, like, it's a personal taste thing, because, like,
Sure.
I typically don't like tournament arcs, and I typically don't love, like, let's just go to school for a little while. And it's bizarre because, like, right up until that point, I was like, this story is getting momentum, you know, like the school burning down.
It does cut the momentum
a little bit, yeah. Like you've gotten to a couple towns at this point. It kind of feels like you're hot on the heels of Cassius. Maybe you got this like sky pirate stuff going on, and Joshua keeps being like, "I'm going to tell you my backstory." No, just kidding, not yet. And then like I'm ready, I'm hungry for all that stuff, and they're like, you know what would be sick is if we went to class. And I was like, I don't know if I need this right now, man. But I agree with AJ that like it is very necessary almost. Like there's a confidence in this game of like, we are not going to do the main plot shit all the time. And I think that aids the it's great. Like it allows you to focus on the stuff that kind of does matter, right? Like the people and the places and the communities that you're interacting with. It helps, and I think that's like why people come back to this series if this sort of thing continues, which I suspect it does. And why people go back to Yakuza, because it's like, yeah, I want to figure out the whole like this person's missing and like there's this huge other plot, but like I got to talk to this grandma who's running the cigarette shop for a little while, you know, like that's that's why you're there. And so the confidence to just be like, fuck everything else, we're going to school for a little while is it's very high. And so like I commend people for it, and I could also sense that like I bet that among fans this part of the game is lauded. I bet people love this.
Yeah, I love it.
As an aside, Chase, I will say that in Daybreak, there is a granny who runs a cigarette shop directly in front of your home base.
Amazing.
You do interact with her regularly, and she does have a developing storyline.
Exactly. Yeah, like it's great. So
It's amazing.
They know what you want.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking about too.
I think it works, and the highest highs, of course, at this point is seeing Joshua who dress up as a princess, and like it's great, man. I'm in. Like
It looks great.
when they drag him on stage in the dress the first time, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is peak. This is cinema, man. Like we are really working with a video game right now.
The best part is they bring him out in drag, and it's not ha ha ha, look at you suffering. It's everyone's just like, you fine, shorty.
Yeah, they're like, damn, you look pretty in that dress. That rocks. Yeah.
Like, wow, you're so beautiful. What the hell? Yeah.
And we get Estelle and Chloe in their little like night outfits, which is also adorable.
Yes. Oh my god.
I will say I was very endeared to Chloe at this section of the game. Like, I was like, she needs to be a like permanent member of the party. She's just very cool, and I appreciated kind of her whole vibe.
Yeah. The amount of time she spends with you where she's not fighting, I think is also such an interesting choice.
Yeah.
Because it's like, she's got this bird. Like, I know that she's got to fight with this bird. I know it's going to happen. And then you spend
And she has healing spells that you can't control her, but she heals you like when she's just a guest.
For so much health.
Yes. I'm like, she's got stats. Like, she's doing stuff. I think that's like one of the real strengths of this game is like it doesn't feel the need to like give you the thing that you want right away. Like it is telling a story, and it is using the mechanics of the game also to help tell that story. And one of the things that popped into my head, Chase, while you were talking about all the school stuff, was like the concept of the bracers being this civilian force, and that like that is their purpose, is to aid civilians and like not interfere with governments and like not interact, like they don't have jurisdiction where the military does, like there are separate entities, and it is like a civilian force meant to help people in towns. Like I think is so cool. And I think the moment, like retroactively, the school and all the theater stuff like really drives that home
For sure.
In this game for me, of like that for me is like when that really solidified, like, oh, this is what the bracers are here to do. Like
they're part of the community, serving the community.
They're part of the community, right? Yes, serving the community. Like they were short 2 people in the play, and these bracers were like, all right, I guess that's what we're doing now. Like somebody requested that the bracers help us fill out our cast, so I guess that's what we're doing now. It's just like really, really, really great, and very, very, very cool stuff. And not to say the bracers are perfect, because I think there are moments where it's like, I don't know, actually. But it is very cool to see like you're not a part of like a big military, or you're not like a gang of chosen ones. Like you're just people out in the world helping the community, and then that has kind of led you down this path. Like, yeah, your dad was like this famous guy and like the best bracer to ever exist, but like you also kind of just like fell into this larger adventure that is kind of rolled into, well, now we have to go here and do this, and now we have to go here and do this, and now we have to go here and do this. It's just very, very cool stuff. Very good storytelling. The game is good.
Game is good.
Yeah, it's such a breadth of tasks that they have in such like a narrow jurisdiction. They serve the people and only the people, and not when it intersects with government or military or politics or anything. So within that little 2x4 space, you do everything. Cat out of the tree, get a rock from the mine, be in a play, doesn't matter. Any of it, if it helps people, that's what you're there to do. And at the same time, the thing I really enjoyed about this chapter and the whole school section is it's the first time that Joshua and Estelle are separated. Estelle's just started her brain ticking about all these romancy feelings and how do I feel about my not brother. And so they both get separated off to have a new foil. So she gets Chloe, and Joshua hangs out with that boy who wants to smooch him.
Yeah.
Hans is hitting on Joshua so constantly. And then he's like, haha, let's talk about girls. But also, Joshua, come under the covers with me tonight. Like,
it's just a queer wonderland at Genis Royal Academy, apparently.
Yeah.
But yeah, like they each get someone new to sort of bounce off of.
Yeah, Estelle joins a polycule of girls. Like,
Power to her, you know?
We love it.
And so we mostly get to see her side of it, kind of her battling with her feelings. Like the first time she's not alongside the person that she's actually forced to think about him in absence. And that's when she really starts losing it. And
Yeah.
I really enjoy that you don't really see Joshua's side, except that like little peek into the student council room that I found, where you just sort of overhear a conversation with him. But otherwise, like his growth, like knowing what we know about Joshua at the end of the game, what is he like around other people? Is he just a mirror? Has he completely changed his personality to reflect his new friend? Or does he have the one civilian persona? I'd be curious to see what that side of the thing looked like, actually.
Yeah, I think this is also the part of the game where it becomes clear for sure that they are going down a romantic route with these foster siblings, and then like you get hints of it before then, and you're like, that's weird, but am I misinterpreting this? And I think, I mean, I knew before going into the game that they were going there, so I can't exactly, maybe it becomes immediately clear more early, but I think this is the chapter where it's like unavoidably clear that they're doing this, which is a choice.
Every moment before this is like somebody being like, oh, are you guys gonna like date, or you guys have crush on each other? And they're like, no, we're siblings. And then that's it. And then this, you're totally right. Like this moment is like, oh no, wait, are we doing this?
Yeah, it was I was really hoping that they would hit the nail on the head of like, we platonically love each other, and that like there is a connection to one another that goes beyond like, this isn't romance. Like you and I have grown up together, and that's like kind of miraculous. And I'm like, oh, I think we're actually going to kiss. I think that's how this is going to conclude at some point.
It's very weird. Yeah. It's not as bad as it could be. So there's something called, I think it's called the Westermark hypothesis, which is basically that the revulsion you feel towards like a sibling comes from being together before the age of around 7, and that proximity, similar to like parents, similar to like whatever, like at a certain age, like the proximity, which is why they've seen like in communities in different places where children are raised communally like siblings, even if they're not siblings either biologically or by adoption, where they're all raised together, they'll then be really like repulsed by each other growing up, even if they're supposed to like marry within the community. Like there have been studies on this, whereas after that age, and it's debated whether the youngest they place that age is around 5, the oldest they place such as around 10, like there's hypotheses. And Joshua and Estelle are 11. So there's the part of my brain that's logical. It's like, it makes sense. They are past the age of the Western marker hypothesis. They are around puberty. But that doesn't change the fact that it's weird as hell because they're siblings and like still like, I'm like, yes, they were 11. So I can understand that. I'm sure if this was going to come up, you would have felt this around 13 if you were going to have weird puberty and like... If puberty was going to mess with your relationship, the fact that you met right at the start of puberty, like, this should have come up by now.
The face you're making, AJ.
Well, Grant, I know nothing about any of the writers of this game, obviously. I know nothing about their lives or previous to making this game or during this game or after this game. But there is like no scenario in my mind where they're like writing the story and they're like, and they meet when they're 9 years old. And someone's like, well, actually, according to the Westermark hypothesis, they should be 11. I'm like,
wait a second. Yeah.
Oh, definitely not. I don't think this is my brain that rationalizes things.
Totally.
Necessarily be rationalized. Like, I'm like, it's not as bad as if they had been like raised from birth together, but it's still weird as shit.
Sure, yeah. That's what I was like, am I the issue here? Like, am I being weird, feeling weird about this? Like,
am I the freak?
Like I was like, is this a 2004 thing? Like, because then I'm also thinking about like the end of Clueless or whatever, you know? I'm like, well, yeah, this is a thing that was happening.
I choose to believe that there was sensitivity involved in the design to make sure it met the Westermark, not just we're lucky that we can explain it away.
Oh, they definitely researched it. Now, the other thing I do know, and I don't want to expand on this because I'll be making cultural assumptions, I do know for a fact that there are differences in how adoption is treated in Japan. I don't know that much about the differences, but I have heard from people who like have lived in Japan that there are, or people who are Japanese, that there are differences in how it's treated culturally. So maybe there is something to that, and that's why it is a culture clash of some for us, that we're like, what the fuck? But I also, I don't want to say too much about that because, like, I don't want to, by obvious things, like,
yeah.
But it's weird if you treat your adopted kids differently, and then I'm like, well, am I just opposing my Western judgments on a different culture?
Yeah,
and then I'm
totally,
like, well, I don't know. Or is that the problem with, like, we're coming from Western backgrounds, and we find it weird as hell.
Yeah,
and I don't know whether we, like, I don't think that's invalid because there might be a different cultural background, but I also think is worth noting.
I think it's like it would be different if you were suddenly being like, this whole plot is weird, therefore the whole culture is fucked. Like, aren't you guys so bizarre for doing this? Because, like, I agree. I read a bunch of manga, and there's very frequently some weird step sibling plots where I'm like, is this normal? Why? Like, this is very bizarre for my eyes. But also, on the Westerner palette, I'm like, this is interesting. I don't usually see this. Like, to my Western mind, all I know is the, like, oh no, Stepbro, I'm stuck in the bracers. Can you help me get out of here kind of thing? Like,
oh, come on.
Oh my God.
I'm leaving.
Yeah.
Bye.
It's the game. It's the game doing this.
Oh my God. I was going to say something, like, serious, and now I'm like, I can't, how do I pivot to that?
Yeah, sorry.
Do I have to call this episode Help Stepbro, I'm Stuck in the Braces?
You might.
No!
In the same way that saying pronouns at the top keeps away the freaks, that one will include a separate sect of people that you don't want to be brought in here.
We have to grow our audience any way we can.
Any way possible.
SEO.
Just wait till you see the season 2 cover art.
I think part of the weirdness is the fact that Joshua calls Cassie his dad and goes by the last name Bright.
Yes.
It might feel differently if it was like he's a ward of the family rather than he's.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I'm like, but I also like, it matters to me that he feels comfortable enough to call Cassie his dad, that he sees himself as part of the family, that he doesn't like. I wouldn't want him to feel so separated from the family that he doesn't call Cassie his dad. But I'm also like, it would not feel as weird if he did call himself Joshua Bright and call Cassie his dad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. 100%.
Or if there was like a conflict of he's like, I don't want to call him that because like I don't feel accepted or something like that. That would be an interesting plot. Or alternatively, if never mind. I'm backseat writing right now. It's just a difference in what's like I think acceptable, and like to me it still feels odd, but that's what it is.
It does all get. There is also more obviously in this plot coming in the second chapter like I don't want to say one way or another how it gets resolved. I don't even remember everything about how they deal with it, but his relationship with the whole Bright family is of relevance.
A plot point.
It's a plot point.
Yeah.
It's not just his relationship with Estelle, it's the whole thing, which will be interesting. But yeah, we've talked all this much about chapter 2 and haven't even gotten to the climax where we find out who burned down the orphanage, and it's like the most harrowingly realistic evil that the mayor burned it down so that he could sell real estate.
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough shit. And also, like, the moment, I feel like the moment you lays on eyes on the mayor and he's like trying to be chill, I'm like, this motherfucker. I know he burned down that goddamn orphanage.
Your house is way too big, living in like the like rough part of town, and you've got a giant mansion.
Yes.
Like, there's no way you're not up to some shit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, but also, how did we all feel about the play itself? I think we should touch on the wonderful theater that we were involved in at the school.
Where Adios herself comes down from the heavens and speaks to us and tells us to slap your titty and to think about it.
You know?
Yeah.
I've heard worse advice. I thought it was very fun. I thought this whole thing was pretty fun. Like the sword fighting was sick. Like I loved Chloe and Estelle just kind of like dancing around and stuff like that. It was very cool. There is a play at the end of Bloom Into You, which is a manga that read like last year. There is a fair amount of teehee in that one, but I feel like it's earned teehee. But the play at the end of that one is like truly amazing. And I would say that like these kind of feel similar, where there is a lot of plot happening in the play that is like relevant to what's going on outside. It's like you can kind of interpret like this isn't just like whatever
lore.
plot. Yeah, exactly. It's both lore, and you're kind of supposed to like see the characters that they're playing as like archetypes and stuff like that. That I think whether or not it's like informing directly the story that's happening here, it feels like a little bit more broad to the point where you can kind of interpret what's happening, in either this game or potentially subsequent ones. I don't know.
Sure.
I like that it was used as lore. Like it felt like an actual play that would actually be written in like an actual society. you know, like
sure.
like there were like it had moral messaging and stuff that they were like, and this is why people in this video game act the way they do. Yeah. About Eidos and stuff, and like I just thought it was very cool. Like I feel like it could have just been very much just kind of a throwaway, like we're doing Romeo and Juliet, and like you only see the final scene where the knights fight each other and then the princess dies. Like when it was a whole thing, I was like, whoa, what's happening? Like I wasn't ready for it.
And it's like the whole story of like, here's why we don't have nobility anymore in this country, and here's why how we like form the current social order, and here's like
exactly, you're right.
We're on the brink of civil war. Like I really like how it like gives you all this world building while being a play where you get to watch your cast run around and drag and do fun sword fights.
Yeah,
and when you talk to the director and she's like, "Oh, well, yeah, we're doing this classic story, but we're gender swapping it because to make it more fun." I'm like, "Oh, this is like this is a story everybody knows." Yeah, and like, it's high school. Like this is just a story within the world, and it works so well on many levels, which is really, really impressive, to be totally honest. Just another credit to the caliber of the writing in this game.
I also just love the choreography in these action scenes, like the way they use the space and stage. Same thing with the martial arts tournament and some of the other sort of simulated fights you see throughout the game. Yeah. It evokes the feeling of being a cool person in an RPG fight. I love the way that they sort of ape the structure of combat in the game as well for the tournament especially. Yes. It's not just like, and then there was a fight. By comparison, Expedition 33 for a more recent sort of target. That game, polished, beautiful, stunning, amazing. But they wouldn't do this. They would do a text box says, and then they went and watched a play.
Yeah.
The scale means that they can do so much more with a limited palette compared to like the unapproachable task of doing it with a full set of colors.
Yeah. The fact that we see this entire play scripted out and everything, and then at the end of the game we get a text box that says, and then they stopped the coup d'etat. is like, it tells you this is what the game is about.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
about the
Yeah.
play and the people here, and the coup d'etat stopping, ending is not important.
Yeah.
Like, you already
Yeah.
did the
Yeah.
important stuff.
I love that they're like, yeah, we don't need to see how the coup did. Like, that's not what matters. That's
Like, you get it. You understand.
And they're probably right. Like, we would probably be bored as hell watching like a million cutscenes of all the different like conversations and like actions being like the whole denouement of it would probably get pretty boring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, they're like, oh, the army's here and the Royal Guard is back and whatever. And it's like, we could have gotten scenes of like, the camera sweeps over and you see all the army like fighting the special ops guys or whatever and like whatever. And it's just like, we didn't need that. We've already seen the important stuff in those scenes, specifically at the end. And you understand, like, everything works out, and then move on to the next thing that's important, which is the conversation between the characters.
Right,
Yes.
Yeah.
Just really, really good. The game knows exactly what it's about, and will only ever be about that, which is so good.
100%. Chapter 3. I'm just doing this off the dome.
Yeah, very impressive.
Yeah, doing
You're
great.
doing great.
I know this game way too well. Chapter 3 is when we go to Zeiss. So as we are leaving, we get some hints about Chloe's true identity, where she's talking to, we get some at the end of chapter 2 as well, when she calls in the Royal Army somehow. When did you guys figure out that Chloe was the princess?
Very late.
Very late.
Not until we were at the castle and they were like, yeah, and the princess should be here soon. I was like, oh.
All right. I figured that was about when it is, but then I was like, for all I know, because it's clear that she's someone. Like,
She's someone for sure.
Too well
Yeah,
connected.
Yeah.
But I wasn't sure because I knew before I ever played the games.
Yeah.
The Sky games, because I played Cold Steel first as well.
Yeah, and she makes like a cameo in there at one point, I think. Like she's briefly in the
Cold
game.
Steel 4, yeah. There's like an
Yeah.
international meeting where you see her.
I had the hint too, so I didn't get the big reveal. But I sure did say Claudia instead of Chloe a bunch of times while we've been recording this show.
Yeah, we kept having to redo it.
Oh my
That's
god.
hilarious.
It was pretty funny. But in chapter 3, they say goodbye. Estelle says goodbye to her girlfriend. They promise to meet again in Grand Salle. And this is not key to the major plot beats, but I want to recap it because I think they're very cute, Chloe and Estelle. And then we meet a small girl child in the tunnels on the way to Keldia in the secret tunnel through the mountains. Tita explains Orbments to Estelle.
And to AJ.
And to me, yeah.
And we get to the factory town. We get a bunch of like wild technology information. Like we learn more about this black orbment. We learn about basically how this whole factory, which is like where all technology basically seems to be getting developed in the country. We learn all that shit about the combustion engine being like old, outdated, inefficient technology. Who would ever use this? We get some hot springs. We meet Jin for the first time. We hang out with Agate again. He gets shot. He also slaps a child.
It's an eventful couple of days for Hackett.
Yeah. We cause a power outage that has never happened before in this world because they don't have that because they have
They don't know how power works, so they don't know how to stop it either.
yeah.
Yeah.
And an old man gets kidnapped. We invade a military base, which is so wild for someone who's like 2 weeks on the job. You're 16, you got your first job, you're 2 weeks in, and you're breaking into a military base. And we learn about the coup d'etat.
Yeah.
Finally, we meet Sid, who's definitely a Final Fantasy reference. We learn what exactly is well, not all the details of what's going on, but that there has been a coup. That this Alan Richards guy who keeps cropping up for like 2 seconds and being like, I'm a nice guy who works for the army, bye. Is not just a nice guy who works for the army. He's overthrowing the government. And we finally, of course, I mentioned Tita shows up, but we do finally get the child party member that every JRPG has to have.
Sure.
So
Yeah.
we can check that off the
But at
bucket
least this
list.
child is a child and not 2,000 years old.
Yeah, that does help.
Yeah, she is in fact
True.
like 11 or whatever. Like, she is in fact a
And
child.
incredibly effective in combat. That area effect, like blindness move.
Yeah, she's got a bazooka.
She's got a gun. Yeah, big gun.
I will say too, I've talked about the mechanics a couple of times, like how the mechanics back up the storytelling, but like every time you meet a bracer, they're like usually a few levels higher than you, which like I don't think is super abnormal for like rotating parties in JRPGs.
Yeah.
But when you meet Tita, she is levels under you because she's 11 years old.
Yeah.
Which I just love. It just makes so much sense. I'm like, yeah, for sure. And she's got this huge gun that does a lot of damage because it's a huge gun and not
Yeah.
because she's like good at combat. You know, it's so good. It's so great.
And she's adorable. And
She's
like
great.
I feel like in video games and in a lot of media, honestly, like child characters often don't hit quite right. Like they're often either written so they feel way younger or way older than they're supposed to be, and they're like, you know, you try to make them cute and they come off as annoying, or you try and make them like, but I find she's just pitch perfect. Like she feels her age, like a precocious kid her age, super precocious, but her age, she's adorable. Like she always feels adorable. Yeah, I feel like they did a really good job with her as a child character.
There are moments where she gets overwhelmed like a child would.
Yeah.
At the top of the tower, when she like fires off her bazooka and it doesn't help, she kind of like freaks out and she's like, I messed up.
Yeah.
And they have to console her like a child. It just feels like a natural character.
Yeah, I totally agree that like sometimes people really overwrite children.
Yeah.
It's either, they're yelling and screaming, or they're like, if I use this bazooka, what are the moral implications of using such a weapon on the battlefield? Like, no, like that's not, I don't think it's that either.
I was going to say, is that why they always make them 2,000 years old? Because they're like, I don't fucking know how to write a child. I would rather write an unaging being.
Yeah, probably.
Could be.
Maybe it's a little more cinematic than, grandpa, go away, shoot gun.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
This was the part of the game that I feel like I was hungry for earlier in the game.
Yeah.
Of like,
yes.
I just kind of wanted to know, like, where are we going?
Yeah.
Because
sure.
it helps me a lot of the time. Like, just Cassius being gone most of the game was helpful for me to be like, we're trying to find Cassius. But at a certain point, I was also like, that can't be the only thing we're doing here, because there's so many hints throughout the entire thing of like the like lake house where like those like otherworldly people show up to meet with the Sky Bandits. And you're like, who are these motherfuckers?
Yeah.
Like, what's their deal? And like all the references to like some kind of subterfuge going all the time. And I'm like, something's happening. I just don't know what it is yet.
Don being hypnotized
Exactly,
or whatever when you fight the Sky Bandits.
yeah.
What the fuck is that about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I feel like this moment was like, okay, if we're finally getting to like the meat and potatoes of like the larger plot, which again, it's a balancing act, because you don't want to like abandon the character work that they're doing for just like the big time capital P plot stuff. But I was excited that they kind of finally were getting to this. And it allowed me to enjoy the smaller moments a little bit more, to kind of like stop having to like look around a corner and be like, is this the A plot? Is that the A plot?
Yeah.
It is kind of a slow start. Like you do have your overarching kind of goals: become a full broser,
Right.
find dad. But there's no great threat beyond just sort of the minor ones you're finding place to place.
And like, figure out what the deal with this black orbment is, but you don't know what the deal with it is, so you can't know the scale of that as like a plot point.
Right.
Yeah, it's almost like a meta read for me of like, it's not that I think that these characters should be more interested. Like I, the player, am just like, what's the thing that we're gonna do here? Because like if it's nothing, that's fine. Like we can just be a slice of life, like small scale story. But it does seem like there's something bigger going on. So I'm like, come on.
There are 11 of these, so perhaps it's bigger.
There are a lot of them.
13.
13. Great.
It does actually get crazy the later into the series you get, where people are like recapping their backstories and they're having to reference all these apocalyptic end of arc events. It's like, in between when the moon fell to the earth and that giant robot destroyed the holy city, that was when I went on holiday. It's a packed 10 years for sure, but being early on where there is still that time to be slice of life, because other than kind of world setting events, there hasn't been any big shit going on in the world recently yet.
Yeah.
No, not for like 10 years, I guess.
I do think Zeiss is also really interesting in terms of like learning more about the scale of the world.
Yeah.
Like this is also when you also learn. I think Zeiss is when you learn about more specifically about the 100-Day War and stuff, and how that. No, I think actually that's in Grand Cell, because you get to the wall and stuff, and anyway, whatever. But you see a computer, and everybody's like, "What the fuck is a computer?" But then you also see an escalator, and people are like, "What the fuck is an escalator? Why are these steps moving?"
It's amazing.
And so it's really like, oh. This is the kind of like, this is the technological like tipping point we are at presently. Like we are on the brink of computer technology, but also we are on the brink of like making a walkway move.
Yeah.
Which is such a cool place for it to be.
Well, and it really gives you a sense of how centralized technology is, like how the like depending on where you live, you have such a vastly different level of technology that you're exposed to. And obviously that's by virtue of living in this country that has some advanced tech, you're obviously more advanced than like just knowing how many countries there are, and knowing that like Tita's parents are off like introducing technology to countries that don't have as much, like, you know, that even, you know, Estelle and Joshua's hometown is ahead probably just by having like lights powered by Orbments as opposed to like fire or whatever. But like there's a massive difference in the level of technology just based on urban centers and the density of an urban center and versus you know, your small town, your rural area. You kind of get a similar sense in chapter 2 with like Minoria Village versus Ruan, where there's like
It does really, like, this was the point where it really made me feel like Joshua and Estelle were kids from the country, because they walk into this town and they have an equal sense of wonder for the thinking machine and the moving stairs.
Right.
And the elevator. They walk into the elevator room and they're like, what's this room for? And they're like, we've seen an elevator like in the mines, but that's a very different kind of elevator. Like,
it's so cool.
All these modern conveniences. The only problem is that there's not a cutscene like there is in a later game with an escalator where you go down the wrong way and you get told off.
Beautiful. I did try. I did walk down the up elevator to see if it would like let me do it. It does
every time.
Yeah.
in the later game, or in a later game where they have like active like voice dialogue like while you're walking around the world, if you try to go up the down escalator or vice versa, one of the characters in your party will like scold you for that. They'll be like, stop, that's not the way the escalator works.
That's so funny.
Go up. It's a different city, but it's another like industrial city that's like the only one with an escalator. But it's fun.
Yeah, it's also interesting the way to describe Zeiss. Like, they just kind of offhandedly say that the town is made up of many, many underground factories that are just producing everything. And it's such a weird concept when everything else
and one conveyor belt can get them.
And it's so weird because like every other town, it's you know, geographically surface level. We don't have like super tall buildings. We don't have underground stuff other than mines. But they're just like, oh yeah, there's just like a network of factories that are producing everything, and you say what you want and it turns up on a conveyor belt. And I couldn't figure out why that feels so weird but familiar until I started playing Death Stranding 2 a couple of days ago. It's like, oh, it's exactly the same thing. It's just like, you want something, they'll fabricate it for you. Fantastic.
Yeah.
It feels a little spooky because of the Industrial Revolution comparison. It's like, I feel like Upton Sinclair might need to go like check out what's going on in these factories.
We need to trails the jungle.
Yes, exactly. Like, see how many human bits have turned up in Orbments or whatever. But
well, I mean, we know there's some child labor with Tita. Like, we might need to look at that.
True. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a journeyman electrician at 11.
She's got plumber's crack at 12 years old.
This 11-year-old is one of the major proponents at Google.
Yeah.
Yes.
The unpaid internship thing has gone way too far. Instead of school, children are in the mines.
They yearn for the mines. I'm trying to think. The end of this chapter is... Oh, you do the fortress stuff.
Yes.
That was fun. Learning more about the actual, like you were saying earlier, Chase, like learning about what's actually going on with the bigger plot. But that being introduced, and then the bracers being like, but there's nothing we can do about it because no one has asked us to help. Like, none of the civilians have asked us to help, and so like we can't do anything until somebody asks us to. It's just so interesting. It's just it's so cool. And the fact that you like have to be like, oh well, actually you have to save the professor, and that's like for the good of the citizenry. So you have to go find him. And you're like, okay, well, I guess we're infiltrating a base now.
Yeah, and I love, like, Kilika is really so cool, the receptionist at the guild there. But I love that she walks you through, like, this is the loophole we're going to exploit to do this. One thing, I've talked about this on the pod a number of times, I think, but I love it, so I'm going to go at it again. I love how they make a point, like, oftentimes being politically neutral is treated as like an inherently good or benevolent way to be. And I like that in these games they make it clear that the bracers being politically neutral is not like it's a compromise they make in order to be able to operate. It's not necessarily just inherently benevolent. Like, sometimes the fact that they can't intervene politically prevents them from doing good, or means that they can't prevent harm when it's not obvious on its face that it's harm to civilians, and they have to find loopholes in order to help civilians. I really enjoy that because I think, again, so like in other media you could see them being like, and the fact that they're politically neutral proves that they're good guys who aren't bogged down in this politics. But it's like, no, like politics can do harm to people, and we can't interfere in the political side of things because that's the compromise we made. So we were allowed to operate in all these different countries. It's not because we're so good that we're above all this stuff. And I find that really effective, and I really like when you get walked through like, this is against our code on its face. There's a loophole we're going to exploit in order to interfere with the military. This is a risk to all of our jobs that we're going to do this, but also we kind of have to do this because we would not be living up to the spirit in which our work exists and our organization operates if we didn't risk our jobs to help civilians. Like, I really enjoy that.
Yeah, 'cause it's interesting because up until this point in the game, Joshua and Estelle's experience of their job is, we're here to do the right thing. We're here to do good. And this is the first time they're really butting up against, like, we know what the right thing is to do. We know what the good thing is to do. But there's roadblocks between us and that because we live in a society.
Right.
We get a bit of that too in Rouen, where they're like, you can't arrest the mayor unless you catch him in the act of a crime. The best thing we can do is we have to delay him until the royal guards get here and can arrest him.
Yeah.
And I enjoy the bureaucracy of that being part of the storyline and one of the things they struggle with, instead of just conveniently never showing up, even though they don't have to deal with bureaucracy in a lot of other areas, like how easy it is to just like go through a border or like transfer your job to a different location. You just write your name on one thing and that's all the paperwork you have. But in terms of like the moral difficulties, I enjoy that. Then we move on to the last chapter, which AJ played through today, all day.
Yeah, all day today. I was like, surely I'll have 12 hours before we're going to start the podcast. Like, and surely it will only take me 5 or so of those hours to finish the game.
Nay.
No, dear listener, it took me 12 of those hours. It was crazy.
12 hours and 10 minutes, one could say.
And 10 minutes, yeah. This is a big chapter.
So much. And it starts off like pretty immediately, to me at least. I was like, fuck, this feels really timely because you're getting stopped at the border and questioned over things that you shouldn't be questioned over. And I was like, fuck, that's not good. You've got like this military coup that's clearly happening. Like, you keep getting like stopped going down the street being like, who are you? What are you doing? Why are you here? Are you allowed to be here? You seem suspicious.
Yeah, for sure a lot of fascism happening in the last chapter of this game.
Yeah, it's really alarming. You also get the fun feeling of all the party members kind of showing up again in the same place.
Yeah.
Which starts right at the beginning with those early cutscenes where you see like Olivier's in town, Chloe's around running away from somebody. Like, everyone's kind of in the same place, which is an exciting feeling. But we have our tournament arc, which, Chase, we know you love those.
Just blasted on through that one. I was skipping a fair bit of dialogue at that section. It's not bad. I was just like, we are so close to the A plot being like here and ready that I'm like, come on, let's just, like, I normally am a Coliseum enjoyer, love a Coliseum in a video game. But I was like, let's just go. Like, let's get this game moving.
Let it ride.
Yeah.
Big picture, what's going on is you end up entering the tournament in order to get an audience with the queen, because the task you were given at the end of last chapter by the professor is go give a message to the queen. So you're like, okay, you get into this tournament. Things are fucking weird. All the royal guards have been accused of terrorism. It also feels very, I might have said this in an episode too, but the fact that it's made in 2004 and the fact that a big part of this is like the military government is using the threat of terrorism as an excuse to overreach their powers. I'm like, I'm aware that this was made in Japan, but they're also part of the world. Like, they know what was good. It's not like, because I'm sure there are people who are going to be like, it's not a commentary on American politics. It's Japan. And I'm like, no, I think it's pretty deliberate commentary.
Yeah.
Yeah, not to skip too far ahead, but the end, Colonel Richard at the end is like, we're doing nuclear deterrence. Like, that's why I'm doing the thing I'm doing. It's like, I don't know, man.
It's like, it's pretty on the nose.
Yeah.
We get to meet up with Julia at church and learn a bit about her side of things. And then we win the tournament and get to go see the queen. And we have a bunch of interesting conversations in the castle. Well, no, first we have the big dinner where they're like, yes, we're going to make Claudia get married. She's 16. We're going to marry her off to someone. And the queen's nephew, who's this like horrible man that we keep running into, is going to be king. And the queen is super sick, but she'll totally be better in time to announce this. But she's super sick. She can't show up. No one can see her.
Brutal stuff.
You talk to Richards, who talks about knowing your dad. The whole game is really the story of Estelle realizing her dad's a big fucking deal.
So funny.
Yeah, the game is how everyone met your father.
Literally. Yeah, we talked to Richards, and he gets this really interesting scene where he's like so suspicious but weirdly earnest, and like he does seem to admire Cassius, but he's like so obviously going against everything Cassius stands for as far as we know. He's like, I'm glad to meet you because your dad was important to me, and I'm glad I got to talk to you. I'm gonna make you guys some mocktails. And allude to making some big decisions that are totally gonna change the course of the country, but don't worry about it. And then you meet the queen.
And she seems chill.
And this lady's pretty cool.
She's the best.
And she's fine.
She's great for a monarch. For a monarch, I'm not a royalist, but she's pretty cool for a monarch.
I meant like healthy. Like she's she's not sick.
Not sick at all. We have to get into drag in order to meet her again.
Yes.
And she tells us all about the war, which finally you got some big lore drop that you've been waiting for.
Yes.
And we find out that this whole coup was happening because she chose her granddaughter, a woman, to inherit the throne, and not a man. There's people who say this game isn't political or woke at all, and I'm like, really? You don't think they're commenting on any progressive politics or any? Really?
Another big God is a woman moment of like, are we really still like this is the confusing thing for this country?
Yeah, it's so weird. It's so weird.
You already have a queen. Like it's fine.
And like, yeah, but having two queens in a row will make us look weak. And I'm like, God is a woman.
God is a woman. Yeah. Like, what are we doing? These guys need to read their Bible again.
Yeah.
You know?
We've strayed away from our good religious values. They need to get back.
We got to get back to church.
We've strayed away from the faith and it's corrupting our society.
So fun to find out that misogyny is the big bad after all.
Yeah.
Turns out, who would have thought? So that's a blast.
Mm-hmm.
And we are tasked with going to the villa to rescue the princess who's been taken hostage. And that's why the queen is, why this is able to happen. That they've taken the queen's granddaughter hostage and are threatening her life if the queen doesn't follow their demands. And the queen is like, as like head of state, I can't just cave to their demands based on my family, but also I can't let her die. She's my granddaughter. I love her. So we're like, yeah, we'll go save her. No problem. Totally chill. We have a big military operation to go and save the granddaughter. Olivier joins up. He was already with us for the tournament, but Olivier and Cher show up right when we save her. We find out that Chloe is Claudia, which this chapter hits at pretty heavily. And Estelle has the greatest reaction of being like, Chloe, what are you doing here? Wait, where's the princess? Like, does not put together the fact that they're the same person. Seeing Chloe there in the princess outfit with a crown on her head.
Our sweet Nike Airhead.
Honestly, not that far away from the same reaction I had of like, what the fuck is... Oh, okay, yeah, right, I get it.
Then Chloe asks us, it's just like a tag team of asking us to like save people in this family. Chloe's like, great, now let's go save my grandma. And so we then plan our operation to get to the castle. Chloe can pilot an airship because she's awesome. We have this whole thing and we get there and I just realized we have not mentioned Second Commander Lawrence, Lieutenant Lawrence, this entire game.
Oh, shit, yeah.
Despite being relevant and showing up constantly. I knew I'd missed something. But when we go to save the queen, we finally find out who this guy is, and it's the silver-haired man we saw in the beginning, and the music that plays is fantastic. And he makes some really vague, not threatening, but like comments to the queen about like, you have no right to pity me. You who know the name of Hamel is what he says specifically, which you guys don't know what that means yet.
No.
Sure don't.
And then he just like backflips off the balcony.
Yeah. Just yeets out of that thing.
That whole sequence is so cool where they split you up in the different parties.
Yeah.
Like you go through they show you the military or the operation like going into effect, and then you split off into these two parties.
Yeah.
It's just a very, very cool moment.
Yeah, you get lots of like sort of jumping cutscenes, like everyone's doing their cool thing. Has my favorite moment of sprite animation in this entire game, which is when the royal guards are rushing the villa. One of them does like a swinging roundhouse kick around a light pole to kick one of the enemies.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And yeah, they've just sort of gotten the sprite and gone do motion tween, but it looks great.
It's a good time.
Yeah.
But yeah, now that we have saved the world, we haven't saved the world yet because there's a whole underground, speaking of underground locations, there's a fucking dungeon underneath the castle, and we have to go through this dungeon. Matt hates this dungeon a lot.
A lot of bosses to fight.
I Yeah, this episode hasn't come out yet, but the final episode of recaps is just me kind of shitting on this dungeon because I hate it so much.
This is when like the Matt like positivity breaks, and Matt's like, I have nothing good to say about this dungeon.
Done.
I don't hate it as much as Matt, but it is frustrating for sure. Those chests are full of annoying monsters.
Yeah, there's a real skill check. You've got monsters that can
Yes.
cancel all your arts. You've got them being able to heal each other to full health every fucking turn. You've got too many enemies per fight. I don't know what it is, but some sort of damage rubber banding, which meant that I was constantly knocking enemies down to like between 10 and 30 HP
Yes.
instead of knocking them
Yeah.
out entirely. So it's not just me.
No, yeah.
I hated it. And it's because that's just enough time for those little spinny bladed motherfuckers to heal everyone again.
Yeah.
It was tough. It's a real skill check. It's a real like level check at the final dungeon, but it's done. I'll never have to do it again. Oh shit, I'm going to play the remake. I have to do it again. Fuck.
It'll be different in the remake.
Yeah, hopefully they'll fix it.
They'll have changed it,
Yeah.
I mean, the combat will be different. Like we now have, we know that. So,
We have pay DLC now. I can just pay to win. It's great.
Hell yeah.
but we get right as we enter the dungeon, the last members of our party show up. We get, Teoh shows up and Agate, and you get that really good feeling where the whole party's together and everyone's met, and it's like, oh, this is the start of something special. Like this is the gang. They're here. You get some cool music for this dungeon as well.
Yeah.
The first time you can choose to switch party members as well.
Yeah,
Which
you-
you can kind of tell because the interface for doing it is
A little
a little
clunky.
rough. They
Yeah.
kind of got to the end of the game and like, oh shit, we need a mechanic, quick.
Yeah, there's a lot of firsts here. The first you get to make your own party. The first like skill check, you actually have to kind of think tactically now. And also the introduction of gender exclusive armor.
Yeah.
Like, what are we?
So
It's like
weird.
they ran out of things to put in chests. It's like, well, shit, we can't just put more boots in here. These have to be girl boots. Sorry.
Come on. Yeah.
This is a part of the game where you can really feel how much they're like, we probably got 3 games worth of stuff, but we got to split it up into like separate entries here.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm.
And it was originally, the first 2 games were 1 game.
Right. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, that was
Wow.
the original plan. Can you imagine? No one would ever have finished it.
Yeah. Jeez.
But we finally get to the end of this dungeon. There's like
Yes.
almost no plot through the dungeon. The only plot that happens is like there's a midway boss with Amalthea you fight. There's not that much story other than my favorite thing about that is the fact that her body stays on the ground after you've beaten her, so you can just run on top of her.
Yeah.
It's
my
so
God.
good. But then you finally get to the end and you find Richard. And Alan Richards is there. Basically, we figured out by now that he is trying to get the like mythical artifact Septarian thing and believes that it's sealed under here. And we're like, well, that would be bad if he got his hands on it. So we're fighting him. And then you have like a 3-part boss fight where you fight him, you take him down, but then a giant robot thing comes out and we take it down. But then the 3 parts of the robot turn into one big robot and you take it
One
down.
big robot.
Voltron.
Yeah,
It's very end
Yeah.
of JRPG boss shit at the end here.
very much
Yeah.
so.
Yeah. It's extremely end of Fire Emblem Three Houses.
Yeah.
Golden
Yeah,
Deer
true.
arc specifically. Spoilers, I guess. Sorry. I don't spoilers for Three Houses
Yeah,
at
it's
the
fine.
end of this podcast.
I would be willing to bet with a like high amount of certainty that if you made it to the end of this podcast, you have probably beaten 3 houses.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a good
Beaten
chance.
as in done every route.
Yes, yeah, every single route.
Yeah.
There is a Venn diagram that is probably very close to, if not just a circle.
Yeah. This is the dubstep dungeon at the end of
Yes.
Three Houses.
Oh my god, yeah, whoa. That's such a strange choice.
I'll never forget it.
No.
That was so good.
I like these boss fights.
I do love, like, yeah, all the plot hooks they're dropping in this final set of cutscenes as well in the dungeon. Just, like, you can tell, like, okay, our story is now 2 games, so we can just, like,
Yes.
do all of the teasers. Like, just lots of, like, proper nouns that you're not going to know what they mean for a while. Some symbology, some imagery. It's lovely. I really liked the 4 towers, the color-coded towers that are in this big room. So you can be like,
I know what these are.
I knew that weird gadget on the top of all the towers was important, just not until the next 50-hour game.
Yeah.
It's so cool. I realized at the 3rd tower, they make you. That's the when you go up in Zeiss and Tita shoots the bazooka. I think that's the 3rd.
It's 4th, I think.
But then I was like, oh, these towers have been in every location, but I only ever had to go up the first one and this one. But the other 2 are there, and you can go in them and like get
You can.
weapons and like you can get equipment. I went to the 3rd one, I think.
Yeah.
So it's like, why are these here?
In one of them, you can find Professor Alba there, too. It's, like, totally unnecessary, but if you go in, he's just there looking at it. He's like, oh, I'm here for research. And then you escort him out because he's like, I could use some help, and you escort him out. And then he's like, well, thanks, but I can't afford to pay you to escort me all the way back to town, so I'll just leave now.
Whoa.
Wild stuff.
That's crazy.
But it's totally, like, missable, and it's not a side quest written anywhere. You can just find him.
Wow.
Once you beat the mechs, this is where Cassius shows back up, right?
Yes.
Yeah, you're about to die. Richard saves you. You're about to die, and he jumps in, and he's like, no, run for yourselves. And he's like, no, we're all gonna die. And then Cassius goes, have you forgotten everything I taught you from off screen?
Yeah.
And jumps in with this cool ass thing, and then he gives you the final blow.
It's so
It's very
good.
good.
Yeah.
I was saying fuck yes on my couch. I was yelling at my television at this moment. So fucking good.
So good.
Because, when that robot got back up again, I was like, motherfucker, I can't do another one of these.
Another, phase shift.
But then you get it, and it's just tap, down it goes.
Yes.
Did you make a conscious choice about who knocked him out in the final strike?
Oh yeah, it was Estelle.
Yeah,
Had to
for
do
sure.
it to him. Yeah.
as it should be.
Yeah. The canon event. I will say the game is very generous with checkpoints in this game or in this section, because I died you fight Richards, and then I got to the robot and I died, and I was like, oh, it's gonna make me start back at the beginning of the Richards fight, because that's like you go into that room and it's just cutscenes until the robot shows up. But no, it starts you back off at the robot, and when you start the robot fight, you're refreshed. All your health and your mana is all back. It's extremely generous of the game to do that. I was very, very happy.
It seems like they're like, you've gotten this far, like you should be able to beat the game. Like we're just gonna let you kind of go through if you want to.
Yeah.
Retrying battles is great, yeah.
I love the talking to that Cassius does here. It's very, very good.
Yes.
Like something to the effect of like your decision making is insane here, and like I can't remember exactly what the phrase was.
I have the exact quote in front of me.
Please, yeah, thank you.
Richard says that he had to do all of this because Cassius left the army, and it was like, there's no other. Cassius himself is a nuclear deterrent, so without him, we need another one, basically.
Right.
And Cassius punches him all the way across the room and says, stop being such a child, Richard. You're the one who made the mistake of never letting go of the delusions you had about me.
It's really good. Yeah.
Basically, he then talks about how, like, there were so many other people who were responsible for his success in that war. And I love how it ties to that theme. And this is a theme that I forgot to mention it earlier in this chapter. You have Joshua and Estelle on a bench after going to the cathedral. Joshua has his little speech about how it's amazing to realize that every single person in town has like a whole life and a whole background and story, and like everyone's got justice, and that's kind of the thesis of Trails. And this all ties to that too, and that what Cassius is saying is like, no, it's not just one hero who is like the important person who saves everything. Like, it's about the community, and it's about all the people. Everyone's important and everyone's part of it. It's not, one person can't just be a nuclear deterrent. One person can't just win a war. Like, no matter how much you want to talk me up, it's like, this is your hero worship delusion. That's not how life actually works.
I'm a guy. I'm just a guy.
I'm just a dude.
Yeah.
Alan Richard is just like, oh, my magical army dad is going to fix everything because he's the bestest. And then dad shows up and he's just like, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah.
Like, I'm a guy. Army is lots of guys. I didn't do it.
He said, "This is the legend of heroes, you dumb shit.
Exactly.
Not the legend of hero."
Ho!
Or my take on that is the legend of heroes is that heroes are just a legend. It's all about the community. The idea that it's just a hero who saves the day is the legend.
Nice.
Yeah.
If and when we talk about big takeaway stuff, I feel like this scene is pretty informative to like my feeling about this entire game.
Because this is also immediately after like Joshua's checked Alan Richard saying like, you don't actually know why you're doing this, do you?
Yeah.
You're an amnesia guy as well. And you're just like, yeah, I'm going to do this thing. It's like,
From amnesia guy to amnesia guy, I can see it.
yeah. Step 1, go into the underground, find the big machine. Step 2, question mark. Step 3,
Profit.
men win?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is pretty close to like the end of the game, yeah?
Pretty
Yeah.
close. Very close to the end. So
No, that happens, and then we.
you get some text boxes like, they stopped the coup. We got VIP invites to the birthday party because we're on the balcony there, which is cool.
Right.
We got promoted to senior bracers, but Cassius is leaving and returning to the army. We get a little more info that like the Black Orbment originally came from Lawrence, who gave it to Richard in the first place, and that's kind of, we need to learn all we can about this guy type of thing. You know, we walk around the festivities, and then we go to the rest area. Estelle is like trying to psych herself up because she's promised herself that she's gonna tell Joshua her feelings for him, but she kind of freaks out and runs off to get ice cream as Joshua waits. And then Professor Alba walks on.
Hmm.
AJ has just taken a step away from the microphone, like shaking their head.
I still can't believe this. This moment is wild.
Yeah, it's pretty
I
nuts.
just like,
It's so crazy.
I messaged you guys when they're like, okay, now you can go to the festival. I'm like, all right, I finished the
I'm
game.
done.
Like, I can walk to the festival and see all my friends, and then the credits will roll. And Lex was like, no, you have like plot important decisions here, or scenes.
Some of the most important things in the game.
The most consequential scenes. Yeah.
We get there. Alba shows up, and then Alba's like portrait shifts angle so that he's staring face on.
Oh, it's so good.
It is such a cool, haunting scene where you realize this guy's behind everything. Not just everything that's happened in this game, but everything that's weird about Joshua too is like tied to this guy. And he just kind of drops like the most chilling villain monologue like ever.
It's so crazy.
It's so harrowing. Basically, he snaps his fingers and all of Joshua, like a bunch of memories flood back to Joshua that he had forgotten. And
So
Joshua is just like collapsed on the ground. Joshua's portrait changes to like he has no eyes. He's like freaking the fuck out. You get some like proper nouns in here, right? Where like you learn that Alba's real name is Weissman and he's like part of something called the Ouroboros and Anguis and whatever. And Joshua is called the Black Fang Enforcer number 13 and all this stuff.
Yeah, I do have to say, I do hate the secret underground reptilian society running everything behind the scenes trope showing up here, but
I will say it's not actually going to be that.
okay, because he calls them like the snake people or something at one point. He says something about like the snake church or whatever. You're like a snake pope or something.
Yeah, the snake apostles is what he calls them, and
There it
they're
is,
not.
thank
It's
you.
not a religious sense. It's so we'll find this out pretty early in the next game. But their symbol of this organization is a snake eating its own tail. But it's not that they're separate underground people. It's
that
they're a
sounds
secret society. They're not running the world. They are interfering in
Yeah.
stuff, but they're not running the world.
Okay, cool.
No Sneeples.
It's not
No.
Three Houses is what we're saying.
Yeah.
This is its own thing.
That's great. That's great news.
It's not those who slither in the dark. They are slithering in the dark, but they're not those who slither in the dark.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, metaphorically.
Perfect. That's honestly so great to hear.
The finger snap moment is so good.
pretty
It's
sick,
just
yeah.
that's just cool. That's a cool cutscene.
Yeah.
And it, like a smash cut of all that illustrated artwork. I love that art, but they never show it for long enough to really take it in.
Yeah, so you get just like kind of what has happened to Joshua, and it seems to be effective for him. He like
Bad shit.
does not seem stoked about this realization.
Yeah.
He's not okay. And then you get this really harrowing reveal that through this brainwashing, Joshua has basically been spying on the Bright families since he moved in with them without him knowing it, and like reporting on them. Alba/Weissman like basically manipulates Joshua into thinking that he's an active threat to Estelle.
Right.
And that he can't be trusted around her. And just totally shatters him. And then he walks off. He runs into Estelle and immediately is back at Alba runs into Estelle and is very immediately like friendly for totally the old portrait picture, being friendly, whatever. And by the time Estelle has gotten back to Joshua, Joshua has totally put himself back together again in a way that's really hollow and creepy. So then we head back to the castle.
For another lovely conversation.
And Estelle's like, it's finally time for me to go and like, she's talking to Cher about like telling Joshua her feelings, but then she's like, actually, I should probably check on Joshua because he's been acting weird. Which I do love the realization that like, even though Joshua seems to be totally put together, like Estelle knows him well enough that she can clock that he's acting weird, even when nothing seems wrong. Like I do love that vibe. And then Estelle finds him on the roof playing his harmonica, and Joshua tells his whole backstory. It's fucked up.
It's wild. The art is so good.
And then she's like, you know what? This is a perfect moment, actually, to confess my feelings.
It doesn't really come off like that so much as like it's he's like, I'm fundamentally irredeemable as a human being. And she's no, you're not. I love you. And Joshua kisses her and then reveals that he's got like a fast acting like
So wild.
Sedative.
on his lips, and she collapses and he's like,
He's Poison Ivy, yeah.
he's like, I'll never see you again. I'm leaving to save you. I've loved you from the start. Goodbye, Estelle. Thanks for letting me be part of your family. I'm gonna vanish forever now. And the game ends.
And that's the end of the fucking video game.
That's just the end, and then it says end.
Yo. What the fuck, man?
I'd say pretty good end to a game.
Can you imagine playing this game at launch and having to wait until the next title?
Yeah.
Yeah.
The versions we played, because the PSP and the PC versions were both sort of ported versions where they have a little, almost a trailer for the second game.
Yeah.
I really like it because it's mostly, you can tell it was made in the development pipeline because it's a lot of concept art and sort of still images
Which I thought was
rolling
very
across
cool.
to great
Yeah.
music. Yeah, it gives you a
It
great
works.
insight. Like, I love the airships and how complex they've made them in the little 3D models. So seeing like how even more thought went into the construction of them, amazing. But yeah, you get sort of hints of where the story is going next, which is Estelle's not taking no for an answer, basically. She says, oh, you think you're going to leave me behind? Nuh-uh. And she's basically packing her bags to head out and find Joshua wherever he's gotten to.
She has to now find the other missing family member. The first game, she's trying to find the missing dad. Now she's trying to find the missing not brother. But yeah, and that takes us to the end of the game.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
For those listeners who are not familiar with dotzip, at the end of every episode, they give a big takeaway about the game they've played.
Mm-hmm.
So we are gonna not quite put you on the spot. We did give you a bit of a heads up, but sort of put you on the spot and ask about big takeaways. We'll give ours too, but big takeaways from this game.
I promise this is no more or less than I prepare for any given episode of dotzip.
Yes.
I know it's coming, and when I'm playing, I'm like, I'll figure it out later. And then the moment we step up to record, I'm like, all right, I guess I gotta pull something together.
Yep.
Do you want to go?
You can go first, because you alluded to yours earlier with that final scenes.
Yeah, I think like the interesting thing about playing this game, and as I've been harping on already, like I keep returning to Yakuza because I think like in ideology these games remind me of each other, and I've been trying to kind of nail down like why do those feel so different than like the games that I'm used to or the games that I grew up. And in my head I very frequently compare Yakuza to Grand Theft Auto. Like they feel like two sides of similar coins of like they're both kind of like seedy, kind of funny, intended to be kind of like almost satirical works, and Grand Theft Auto usually leaves me feeling very bad, and playing Yakuza usually leaves me feeling very good. And I like Trails was sort of a way for me to explore that comparison and be like, why do those things feel different, and like what about this game is working versus I guess a lot of Western games don't. And I think that there is an emphasis in Western just thought, it's not even games, but thought of like the rugged individualist, right? Of like the person who is strong enough to do it on their own. And you see that archetype played out over and over and over again. And in games too, right? Like even in Grand Theft Auto, like you're just the sickest motherfucker who's going to shoot so many bad guys and like you're going to beat the game, like that's the idea of a lot of those. And even when that's like not as problematic as some of those games are, like it is still an idea that is baked into the storytelling culture that we have. And so in comparison to Yakuza and Trails, like I think it is almost exactly the opposite, that the game is saying, and even Cassius pretty much yells at the screen, like if you think you are a rugged individualist, you will lose. Like that is not what makes us strong here. And I think why some of the like my friends or my power stories work every now and then, it feels like such a trite thing to say when you say it out loud, or when you're trying to explain to someone like, yeah, Kingdom Hearts works because Sora is friends with Goofy. It's like, that sucks, dude. That does not sound like a very good video game. But when you have 40, 50 hours with those people and all of their interactions feel very real, and suddenly you're like, actually, my friends are my superpower.
Yeah.
And the same thing is true of this game in that like it is putting an emphasis on the fact that Estelle and Joshua are part of a community. They're a part of a people. And each time they go to a new town, they integrate themselves in there and just go listen to whatever bozo has a problem. And they're like, yeah, we'll fix that. And then that's how they help the place, the world that they're in. And again, Cassius like is screaming this at the end of the video game, so it's not like it's hugely subtle, but it was like kind of clarifying in that moment to be like, I see why people like these games and why it feels so much easier to play 80 hours of them, is because like even if one individual plot point doesn't necessarily work in this, or if there's something that feels dated or aged, it's like I can still keep playing because the community is still there. The place is still there. And why it's so exciting every time you get to a new town, because you're like, I wonder who lives here. I wonder what this town is about. I wonder who I'm going to help here. In comparison to, a Grand Theft Auto where you get to a new place and you're like, I'm going to blow this place up. I'm going to put C4 and everything and explode a car. Not to say that that's not fun, because it is fun too. But just I think ideologically it was fun to play this game as a clarifying experience to see like why why this works. And it also totally makes sense why someone might play one of these and be like, I have to play 13 more video games because like I can't get enough of this space and these people. And it's why like Persona works too, because you've got like such a strong identity of your friends and the place that you hang out and the things that you believe in. Game good, I think, is my big takeaway. But that moment, I think, was the thing that really clarified it for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
AJ?
My big takeaway, and I think not only to be thematically contrarian, but to show the depths that we have over on dotzip, because sometimes the big takeaways are very well thought out and whatever, but really the big takeaway is the thing that you're gonna, when you think about this game, it's the thing you're gonna think back on. And I'm in the process right now of starting a new TTRPG campaign with some friends, and we're doing mechs, and we're doing magical mechs, and it's a whole thing. And playing this game has made me realize that like middle ground technology is so fucking good.
Sick as hell.
Is so cool and is so awesome to set a world in, to like have magical technology but not have it as like advanced enough that like you know what a computer is. Like that is such a compelling thing to me
100%.
In this particular moment. And so that is something that I've been thinking about a lot in the last week as I've been kind of blasting through the end of this game. And I think I think that that'll be as simple as my big takeaway is that like middle ground, beginning of technological boom technology is an underserved story market. And I'm sure that that's not true. It's probably, maybe it's not underserved, but I am not exposed to this kind of technology or this kind of storytelling, and maybe that's just steampunk, but I don't think so. I think steampunk is even a little further.
This doesn't have the punk of the it's early age of steam ideas, like, but it's not steampunk.
This is steam pop.
Steam pop. But yeah, I think that's where my head is at right now in terms of when I think about this game. Like obviously the story is so great and the themes are so good and there's so much that I could say. Like I had a little one that I was like, oh, the reason that ancient civilizations are gone is there's a reason for that and we should just leave them gone. Like you can't bring back an ancient civilization because you're just going to repeat it and it's going to go away again. So there you go. There's another like mini big takeaway for you.
Wow, 2 for 1.
2 for 1.
A big takeaway and a little takeaway.
Yeah, but I actually think honestly, like, never mind. This is a whole separate thought about just big takeaways as a philosophy. We don't have to get into that. That's mine. Thank you.
Nicely done. Thank you, AJ.
My big takeaway, I feel like I've given it like a few times in this episode already, but it is pretty similar to Chase's in that it's that everybody has a life and a story and nobody is just collateral damage, and the villains in life and in this game are the people who think that other people are less important and can fall into a category of collateral damage or acceptable losses or anything. Obviously, sometimes death and tragedy are inevitable in life, but as soon as that's something you just accept, like some people are going to die, that's just, going to happen. Once you're able to make peace with that, you've lost something of yourself, of your humanity, because it's not, you can't just go through life like that. That's the first step of villainy, is when you think anyone's disposable.
Right.
And I think that's the flip side of when you think there's a one hero that's going to save the world and that you need to depend on. Because if one person's the hero, if one person or a small party of people or whatever are the most important people in the world, everyone else is more disposable than them.
Yeah.
Like that's the inherent idea of it. And whether you think that more important class is your JRPG heroes or your elites, your rich people, your whatever you want to call it, whatever you think of an elite group of people who are more important, whose lives are worth more. I think the whole idea of this game is railing against the idea that some people are inherently more valuable and more indisposable than others. And I think that's why every NPC you meet has, like, not just a name, but some sort of storyline and has dialogue that updates throughout the game, like, enough to, even if you don't get a full, like, game about them, you get the sense just by talking to them that they have a whole life that is going along and progressing, and relationships that are mattering. Like, they have a whole world unto themselves. Every single person in this game, whether you get to see that whole world or not. Really important. I think that's the thesis of the game.
Totally. Yeah.
Very cool.
Good takeaways.
What's Matt's?
That's why I was getting ready to tee it up. Yeah.
Okay.
My big takeaway was just how the entire game feels like an allegory for the experience of stepping out into the world for the first time and seeing just how much your like solid concrete worldview is just going to get destroyed over and over and over again, because the entire game is just revelations that shatter Joshua and Estelle's worldviews about each other, about the world around them. You've got things like over and over again learning how cool their dad is, something that they just had not connected with either by being the child and you just kind of ignore your parents, or what the revelations that the government is basically hanging on by a thread. There's so much infighting and sort of crossed objectives that this coup could happen, and so many people were in on it. Revelations along the way. Yeah, just learning new things about the history of the world, the history of the town, even things like going into the Zeiss central factory, opening a book in their central library of reference materials and having it say, we don't really get how this works. We found some rocks in a mine and they made the vacuum cleaner work, so we're doing that now. And we'll figure out how it works later. You see the world as this thing that everyone else has sort of got a firm grip on, and they are moving through it confidently. Everyone seems to have their shit together, and then you step up to the plate with your first job or traveling for the first time, and you realize, oh, everyone's just kind of like holding on for dear life and praying that it'll work out. And the people you think you can trust aren't always the people you think you can trust. So yeah, it's just kind of like that idea of having your worldview broken. I'm interested to see in second chapter if they sort of build on that theme. Like, now that we have sort of shattered everything we knew about each other, like what does it look like to pick up the pieces? And are we going to explore that as well?
Good video game.
Yeah.
I like all of our takeaways. They're great.
Yeah.
This went well.
Good
It's a
video
good game. It's
It is
good
a good video
takeaways,
game.
yeah.
I think that brings us to the question and answer segment.
I yearn for questions.
Yeah.
So first off, we got a special recorded question from one Stephen Hilger.
Oh, yes.
Who's that?
Don't know. Haven't heard of him.
Hey, Steven.
Hey everyone, my name is Steven, and I am a huge fan of this podcast, a huge fan of Lex and Matt, and a huge fan of Trails, so I'm very happy to be here. Thank you for having me. My question is about the upcoming Trails in the Sky remake. I'm curious what you both want from it, whether there are things you want to be revisited or changed or added. Like, I think with remakes, there's always that delicate balance of preserving the original and adding new things, and I'm curious, what kind of ratio do you want to see there? Do you want it to just be largely the same game but with updated visuals, or do you want them to take this opportunity to maybe make it more of an adaptation almost? And follow-up question, I'm curious if you think there are any other games in this series that could benefit from being remade, whether that's the rest of the Sky trilogy or Crossbell or even the later games. And that's all I got. Thank you all for making such a great show. I look forward to this episode, and have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thanks, Steven.
Thank you, Stephen.
Thank you, Stephen. You're going to make me, I have to, if I don't say it, then I seem like the asshole.
AJ said no thank you, Stephen.
I was nodding very sagely while listening to that, okay?
I mean, I guess I've said one thing that I already want, which is for them to change Olivier's introduction a bit, and
Sure.
just the handling of that, as well as like the Shara weird stuff, the sexualization of kids. So those are things that I hope they change, because I have issues with them. In terms of things that I'm excited for, like other than that aren't negatives about the game that I hope they change, but are more like positives I'm looking forward to. There's two types of things. First is just that I'm really excited and interesting to see what they do to recreate the effect some of those like sprite animation and like staging have, because I think they do. Falcom are so good at using minimal assets to really great effect, and like reusing assets for stuff, and like they do a really good job of that. But obviously that the scale of what you can do with the sprite, it's a lot harder to do a complex like the roundhouse kick around the light or whatever with like a full 3D like character model than it is. So I'm curious to see what they do there. And then I'm really interested to see if they add in any more nods to later games, which people who haven't played later games won't pick up on, but people who have played later games will pick up on. I'm really curious to see if whether they have like NPCs show up who are actually going to show up in later games as real characters, and they get the younger version of them or something like that. I'm really interested in that. What about you, Matt?
I think for me, I'm hoping for more sort of conversational dialogue between the characters, sort of those traveling from A to B type bark conversations. I feel like, given that one of the big selling points is that this is one continuous map throughout the game in first chapter remake. They've shown footage of you just running from Roland through the in-between to get to bows and all that kind of stuff, which is just really cool to see. So I want more time to sort of see how the characters interact with each other. Like we were talking about how it was really nice to have the whole party together at the end of the game, but if we can get more sort of interpersonal contact between everyone to sort of understand more of what their relationships between each other are.
Like party banter, yeah.
Yeah. Like I would love to see, like I want to know how Olivier and Tita feel about each other. That we haven't touched on that at all. Like stuff like that.
Right.
Again, yeah, I hope some of the less woke elements of the game are kind of restructured a bit. Because in Daybreak, the two most recent games, there have been sort of stuff. They've touched on things like sexuality and gender diverse people in a way that is respectful and sort of educated. So I'm hoping that they can sort of loop that back to kind of thread it through from the start. I think beyond that, just better signposting for the side quests so that it's possible to find them. I feel like that's pretty much guaranteed. The more modern games are very much like, here's the checkpoint where you're going to kind of thing. But they're also doing a completely new combat system compared to the current run of games. So I'm interested to see if they find a cool middle ground for that. And as far as remaking other games, yeah, I just hope they keep going with Sky, honestly. Like, remake all 3 Sky games over time. Give it the Final Fantasy VII treatment. I think first chapter, looking back at it, could very much be described in modern marketing parlance as a cozy RPG, because it is kind of a tighter focus. Like, you have a small party, you've got a finite world you're moving through, and it's all sort of smaller scale. I think, yeah, that could really hit for people. So if this one goes out and does well, I am just crossing my fingers that they bring the other 2 as well.
Yeah.
I think I'm like pretty interested in the mechanical side of things. Obviously, I agree with pretty much everything you guys have said, but just like having played this,
Chase actually wants it less woke.
I would like. I can't even make a joke that seems
Finish
funny.
the thought,
I
Chase.
know.
No.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Yeah, they do a new ending where at the end Alan Richard wins.
Thank you. Yeah, and they're like, he's justified and morally righteous. And I don't know. They shave Cassius's mustache off. But yeah, I agree with everything that's been said, and I'm also just like, what does the combat look like? How does that feel now?
Yeah.
And like, do we get a new tutorial on how to use orbments and anything like that? I have to assume so, but yeah, I don't know. I think I'm largely just interested to see this this story from like a literal different perspective now, given that it's like so close into the characters. Yeah. When I played through Divinity Original Sin, it was I always had a hard time kind of like seeing the characters. This was another game that the Baldur's Gate 3 folks made, and I liked it, but I was like, I wish I could see them a little bit better. And then of course when Baldur's Gate dropped, I'm like, this is perfect. I can see them when like you go into a dialogue scene's right on somebody's face. And so like I'm looking forward to that in this game. And I think Lexi had mentioned this earlier of like, they do a lot with very little in this game. Like there's so much detail in these like kind of like it reminds me of like Super Mario RPG level kind of sprites and worlds and shit.
Yeah.
But I am excited to see it in just like kind of higher glossy JPEG version. So yeah, I think to Steven's point, like it is a balancing act, because you don't just want to like erase over everything and just be like, what does this game look like in 2025? Because then like you kind of lose a little bit of the magic of like just what was in the water of the time. But like I do think it would help to make it more palatable to a modern audience, as far as just like the cultural osmosis of the problematic shit. But also you don't want to take away like, this is also just a fun romp, so you don't want to lose that characterization that they have here.
Yeah. I agree with everything that has been said. I'm extremely curious to see what they do with the Orbment system, like how that's implemented. If they're like, oh, if you want White Gehenna, hit this button and we will auto-organize your Orbments for you. Like, is that a thing, or are they going to make you go back and forth between your Orbment screen and your Bracer notebook, or like, can you have them side by side?
They will not do that, I'm pretty sure, because
yeah, a lot of the newer games have like auto-equip stuff to a level where you can auto-equip your quartz for like attack focus, defense focus, speed focus, or balance focus.
Hell yeah.
I don't know if they'll let you pick White Gehenna specifically, but they should, because it is the best move in the game.
The best thing they added in Daybreak is you now have an auto-equip thing that just upgrades anything you have. So if you have an Impede 1 equipped and you have an Impede 2, it'll upgrade that.
Good stuff.
The amount of times I was like, do I have an attack 3? Do I need to buy this? I don't remember. And then, yeah. I'm very curious about that. And then I think, I don't know, if I'm going to be really picky, I think it could be very interesting to have Richards and all them and like the intelligence wing be like less cartoonishly evil once the shoe drops. Like once you're like, oh, it's been them the whole time, the rest of the game they're like, it's been us the whole time. And then you see that real moment of humanity from Richards at the end where he's like, I just want everything, I was just trying to make everything better. Like that feels very real and grounded, but everything up before that point is very like twiddling fingers, Mr. Burns, like ah ha ha ha. So I don't know. I don't think that's really necessary to like make the game good or something, but it would be fun to see like kind of a pared back evil, you know?
Yeah.
So Andy asks, of all the NPCs in the game, who would you want at your pew/table for church/Father Divine's drag brunch?
I'll say not Scheherazade. She's gonna order, like, somehow she will spend way too much money on bottomless mimosas, and like she will find the bottom of the bottomless mimosas, and that's like really gonna fuck up the whole vibe.
She's got real straight woman at the drag show energy for sure.
Yes, yeah.
And she is gonna drink all the booze there and get us in trouble.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's gotta be not Zane. It's gotta be Jin, right?
Oh, Jin's gonna be a blast.
Dude seems like the best hang.
Yeah.
Like he just seems like a cool hang.
Oh my god, yeah. He's the best. He's just chill.
Yeah.
So chill. I am gonna say, I'm gonna bring Joshua if he's of age to show him that drag isn't something to be embarrassed about all the time.
Sure.
There you go. Yes, start his drag career.
Exactly. I'm gonna bring Olivier, even though I might regret it.
I think he could be fun.
Because that's gonna be really fun, even though we might get arrested. You know who might be really funny? Professor Russell.
Yeah.
Tita's grandpa.
Yeah. I feel like he's with it. I feel like he would be a good hang. Yeah.
I just feel like he'd be funny. Oh, and Cassius. I want to bring Cassius. Cassius Cassius knows everybody, first of all. So every single queen there is gonna have a backstory with Cassius of some kind.
It's true. That's
and I want to know.
Yeah.
I could regret it, but maybe bring Dorothy. Just see how she handles it.
Oh my god, yes.
Oh yeah. She'd be so excited, yeah.
Yeah.
Tipping
She's
left
gonna
and
fit
right.
in.
Right.
Yeah.
I would say, yeah, if it was a party member, I'd definitely bring Olivier because he's going to know the best spot to sit. He's going to know all the queens. He's going to
That's true.
give me the best spot in the house. If it was purely NPCs, I would bring an undercover Queen Alicia. Get her in some civilian clothes, maybe with like a nice hood
Oh,
up.
that's a good pick.
And let her experience the culture because she's been locked up for a while now and she needs to get
true.
out there. And what better way than to see the combination of entertainment, theater, and religion?
Yeah.
There you go.
True.
Yeah, I totally blanked on it being NPCs. I apologize for that. Except Cassius, I guess.
Cassius counts, yeah.
I feel like any of that other bracer group at the martial arts competition would be fun too. Like Karna would be a great hang.
She and I are getting married. I'm bringing Karna. Karna is my lesbian lover.
There you go.
I don't think she knows because she's a fictional character in a game, but I love Karna.
Sure. It's a good guess, yeah.
No, I think she knows. I think she knows.
I can't believe I forgot Karna. I'm so sorry, babes. All right. We got a question from Doug, aka Chick Counterfly. Should the real world have bracers?
Yes.
Oh, the moral implications here.
Yeah, there's the community policing, I think, is a thing that can be aspired to.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
If we could get the ground level work, but maybe like formalize and strictify the rules about stepping in for government and politics and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, if that was a little less loosey-goosey and easy to find an excuse to go in there, it's like, oh, well, one of the military is a grandpa, so now we can go. That's not enough. There needs to be better checks and balances. But yeah, I think as a community support.
At the same time, I would at least like, if my grandpa got disappeared, I would like them to just be like, yeah, we'll go get him. So maybe we don't.
Yeah.
It's, I think in theory, yes. But I think the execution of it is a lot harder to, I would like Estelle to hit people with a big stick when they are causing problems.
Chase, you're really stewing over there.
Yes. I think conceptually.
Yeah.
I live in the United States and just anything that can go wrong will go wrong sometimes. And so I'm like,
That's literally, yeah.
and so I'm like, okay, what horrible person could take this to the worst place?
If they were not armed, it might be different. But the fact that, at least in the US, that would mean they all have guns is a little...
Maybe they just all have bow staffs and like that's the limit. Like you got a stick, and so like
No bladed weapons. Yeah.
no bladed weapons. You got a big stick, and so like either you have like a lot of people who are getting pretty good with staffs, which is that's a net good, I think.
Yeah.
But like you can't do that much damage. I say that. I'm sure someone can probably hit me in the head, and that would suck.
Yeah.
Let's go with yes, but Estelle has to be in it in real life.
Yes,
Yeah.
asterisk.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's see. Rob K asks, if you're Major Vander, how would you try to stop Olivier from causing trouble?
Oh man.
I'd get one of those harnesses that you put a toddler on so they are on a leash.
That's so perfect.
That sentence could have gone so many different directions. I would get a harness, and I'm like, where are we going, Matt? What is?
Shara's gonna get him a harness.
I was gonna say, yeah.
This is the first episode I'm tagging as explicit. Okay, so what I'm getting now.
Goodness. I think I would tell him that there's a very important mission of like, you need to go to this town and sing this many songs and like have this many people in attendance of your concert, which would take a while because he really, I imagine, wants to do that, but like people seem to not like it whenever he pulls out his lute or whatever. But I feel like just the challenge.
He also seems to have only one song.
That is true, yeah.
He does need to expand his range past Amber Amour. I think I'm going to introduce him to karaoke.
Oh, yeah, he might just get stuck at a karaoke spot.
That'll at least take up like a week.
Yeah. Oh, that's a great answer.
Yeah, there's a horrible dive bar in Seattle called 4Bs that has it smells terrible and I love it in there, but it has karaoke quite frequently, and I think that 4Bs might be able to occupy Olivier for a little while.
Yeah, I think you just got to set him up with a polycule. I think we got to
that's
get
probably the
Olivier
answer.
some partners, and I think he would be good.
Yeah.
Asked and answered.
There we go. We've got a plan. Now, another question from Andy was, what are your favorite songs or tracks from the game soundtrack? Now, we might not know the names, but everyone knows that my favorite is Silver Will, which is the kind of theme song for Second Lieutenant Lawrence, or Louve as we learn his name is. I love that one. Anyone else have any favorite?
Yeah, it's the fucking battle theme. The blah 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 blah.
Solid.
Like just unreal. Yes, so
yeah,
good.
there's a sax solo in that song. It's wild. It's so wild.
They included that bit in the trailer for the remake, and I'm like, I'm so in on what's going on right now.
Yeah.
That kind of like fully instrumentalized.
Yes. Oh my god.
Yeah, they have like an actual saxophone, and I think there's an electric guitar in a portion of it. It's just unreal.
Fuck yeah, dude. Hell yeah. There is like the reprise of the battle theme or the main theme or whatever it is at the I think when you go down to the final dungeon that Matt hates, there's like a bit of a reprise of the battle theme. It's either that or like after Cassius shows up. I can't remember exactly when it happens in the game, but that fucking rips. That song's so good.
Yeah.
I also can't give like more of an answer than that because I listened to so much of this music on 3 times speed as I was sprinting around the world.
Or in the games that have official turbo mode as opposed to emulator, turbo does not speed up the music.
Beautiful stuff.
Yeah,
Beautiful
That's
stuff.
how the Steam version works as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I guess I'll have to play the Steam ones moving on. If I'm going to stream it from my computer, I might as well just play the ones that are on the computer.
True.
For me, I think my favorite track was probably the specific boss theme that played while fighting the Capuas in their home base. It was just like extra jazzy, and I really liked it. I can't remember the name, but I put a section of it in the episode when we talked about it. It was it's just a lot of fun. Like I love when there's multiple battle themes. You can kind of as much as it slaps. Like hearing one song only for the entire game would tire me.
That's fair. So, which city-state of Liberal do you think you feel most at home in? Where do you want to live? And I'll tie this, and that was from Andy, and I'll tie this into one from Doug again, which was, if you could afford any Liberal house or apartment that we've seen, which one would you live in if you have a specific house of someone?
I cooked this up early because I really had to remember what happened in this game. If I had to pick a city, I would pick Zeiss, because living right next to Amazon would be very convenient.
Sure.
Amazing.
Hey, anything on delivery, like next day delivery. I love it.
Fair enough, yeah.
I live in Seattle, and I can confirm that like one day delivery is nice.
If it was a specific house, though, I would pick the mayor's house from Bose, because it has controls for the drawbridge in the basement.
Oh, no, that's Ruan, but yes.
Oh, Ruan, sorry, yeah. I would pick his house because it's really nice. It comes with a staff already. And if I don't want to spend time with anyone, I can just pull up the drawbridge remotely so no one can come to my house.
That's excellent. I'm actually going to go into the same place because Ruan is my favorite city. And the thing is, I don't need a mansion that size, but also there's nothing stopping me from turning it into like not being a single person estate, from like sharing it in some capacity, so I can figure that out. Or I would also though like one of those houses that's like down along the water line in that city, like you know how there's like 2 floors. I really like that city, and that works out because I don't have to worry about kicking him out of his house because he's already going to jail.
Yeah. I think I also like Rouen as just the place I would want to live, but I really love the vibes of what's the bracer place with Kalika in it? Is that in Zeiss?
That's in Zeiss, yeah.
Yeah, I love the just the inside of that building is like so nice. I love that building so much. So it would be that bracer building, but in Rouen, because I love the water. And Magnolia is right down the street, and I really like Magnolia.
True.
That's great.
I also like Rouen. It just like seems very chill. It's like Trails Venice kind of. Like it's not definitely not as like watery, but it's pretty sick. It looks cool. And I will say I'm tempted by Relent. Like it seems nice.
I was thinking that too, but I think I would get sick of it. I think it's a bit too provincial.
Me too. It's a small enough town.
The thing is, like, you don't get it in the start of the game, but it's right next door to the capital, so you can just go through the gate.
Yeah,
you couldn't go through at the start of the game, and you're in the capital city. It's not a bad spot.
Yeah, it does seem nice. The like pub that has like outdoor seating just looks so nice. I'm like, I would drink so much beer at this exact place.
Yes.
This looks great.
100%. Yeah. And for a final question, this is from Rob K. Of all the revealed secrets in the final chapter, which one were you most surprised by?
Unfortunately, I think my answer is Chloe. It's
really?
That shouldn't be the answer.
Joshua was a child assassin, but Chloe is the most surprising.
I gasped when I saw that she was a princess. I was like, no way. And whereas Joshua was like, the dude's been holding his knives out to his side the whole time. Like, I'm a killer. Like, of course.
I'm a killer.
Yeah. Like, okay, he hasn't, he used to be even more of a murderer, but like, I don't know why. Something about Chloe. I bought the story of like, I'm an orphan. I'm like, okay. And then reveal. Wow.
Hey, it's true. She's an orphan, just a royal one.
True. Yeah.
I think for me it was the Weissman reveal.
Yeah.
I was messaging you guys when I was going through it because fun. It was 10 minutes. It was 5 minutes after we were supposed to start recording, and it was just. It was so it hit so hard because I had already been suspicious and then thrown away the suspicion of the professor because he shows up so many times and he immediately is very weird vibes at the top of the tower. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? What's he doing? But then he shows up so non-consequentially throughout the rest of the game that I'm like, okay, it was just weird that he's there, but he's just kind of a quirky guy. Like whatever, it's fine. And so as soon as he walks into that area during the festival, I like hands up in the air, controller down on the ground, like what the fuck? This game got me so good in that moment. So it was that reveal really fucked me up.
Nice.
Getting your live reaction to it in the group chat was amazing. That was wonderful.
Yeah.
I would say for me, like, that reveal was a big shock, but the one that really got me was literally that the bad guy was misogyny. Like, we got to the end point and they're like, we're finally getting some explanations of why they're doing what they're doing, and it literally did just boil down to women suck. And I was like, oh, I thought there would be like, because these games, like, I've played enough of these games and enough RPGs in general to know that it's always a big thing and it's an allegory for something else. But then it's just like, no, it's just boys rule, girls drool. And that's kind of the big thing. And I was like, I thought that was an undertone. I didn't think that was the big one.
Right.
It was very effective in that way because it was just like, oh, it is like a ground level issue. It's not some huge cosmic horror. It's just the bad guy is that people have bad thoughts.
Yeah.
Wow, what a video game.
I unfortunately don't remember what shocked me most when I first played this game because that was like 3 years ago. My overall shock level was just how all the reveals felt. Like everything with Weissman, everything was just like it hit hard, and even though I knew every single thing that was happening, I was like, this is so well done. This is so well done.
Yeah.
Really feeling it. And I was like, wow, I can't believe when I know it's all coming, it's still that good, like when it's not a shock.
And like the density at which they're throwing at you these like huge twists.
Yeah.
And even the end of the game, like Estelle passes out and then like it's like the end. I was like, what the fuck? Like I said what the fuck at my television. I was like, this is the end of the video game. Like the density with which the last 15 minutes of this game throws stuff at you, and every single one hits like bullseye. Like it's the writing and delivery and pacing of this game is like truly unreal.
I will say, like, when I finished the game and hit that moment, I did immediately boot up second chapter. Like, I finished writing my notes, I closed the game, and then I opened second chapter just to see how it would start. And I won't say anything about it, but it does pick up very literally exactly where we left off.
Wow.
I expected to, like, jump a month past the aftermath or whatever, but just like, it's like game 2 next morning, pretty much. It's intense.
Wow.
I'm going to play it.
Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
Me too.
Hell yeah. My work is complete.
Congratulations.
All right, but I think that's about all the questions we have, huh?
Yeah, I think there were a few more, but I think we are kind of covered the gist of them. And I know we've been recording for like over 3 hours now.
Oh,
So I think I'm going to allow everyone their freedom again. Thank you guys so much for coming out of the pod. We really appreciate it. And for playing the game during a chaotic time when you had lots of other things to do. Including the miracle of human life on the way.
Yeah.
And everyone who's listening, thank you so much for listening to this episode of the podcast as a whole. Second chapter, second season's coming soon. We haven't decided how exactly we're going to break up the episodes, but the prologue, unless I am vastly misremembering, the prologue of the next game is a lot shorter than the prologue of the first game. So our plan for the first episode is to play through the prologue in its entirety. We will update you on all the socials and such if that idea changes, but that is the plan for now. So thank you so much, everyone. And Matt, thank you for being my co-host. So until next time, I've been Lex.
I've been Matt.
I've been AJ.
I have been Chase and will remain Chase. Also, thank you for having us on. We didn't say it, but thank you so much.
Yes, thank you so much for having us. Yeah.
And this has been Trails in the Sky first chapter.
We're done.
Woo.
Bye.
Bye.
And then we all pass out. That's the end of the podcast.
We all put on our respective Poison Ivy lipstick, do a 4-way kiss, and fall down simultaneously.
There we go.
Do we all have it pulled up? Do you want to do just on the 10 seconds?
I got it.
Or?
Yeah, let's do 10.
Oh, God.
That was the worst clap I've ever done.
Do you want to do it again?
Yeah, we can do another one.
I'm sure it recorded fine. I got the spike on my thing. It just, like, if it was a high five, that would not satisfy anyone.
Sort of a flaccid clap.
Pretty much.
You've heard of acid rap. Get ready for flaccid clap.
Chance the Rapper's back, and he's got a brand new album.
Why did we invite you people?
Yeah, sorry. You've made this worse.